the green one that says. That's.
We have another one, but we don't have the.
Sketch out, and that's not one.
Okay, we are live.
Should be.
We're good to go.
Listen to it.
Oh.
Okay.
Division A.
It's January 7th, 2026, the time and that's now 6:33 p.m. And this is the meeting of the Facilities Committee. We'll start with introductions.
Luke Johnson, Network Administrator.
Chanda Merrill, Assistant Superintendent for Business.
Dennis Pugliese, Director of Facilities. Michael McCoy, Director of Phys Ed, Health and Athletics.
Steve Morton, Canada, Senior here, Woodland.
David Warner, Committee Member and Board Member.
Elizabeth Sandona, Assistant to Director of Facilities.
Chris Fallon, Trustee, Fairfield alum. Tonight.
Jeff Copeland, resident taxpayer.
Tracy Neighbors, board president, parent of a 2024 grad, current senior and current sixth grade.
Giovanna, sorry enough, who was still then? That's good.
I'm John Griswold, Assistant for the Varsity Basketball Coach.
John Rapp.
Town of Greenburgh, right?
John Rapport, the head varsity basketball coach.
Katie McGee, parent of a junior.
Hey, somebody's coming in.
What's going on there?
And online.
Sure.
Fred,
Fred Seba, BBS Architects and Engineers.
Mike,
Mike Messina, BBS Architects and Engineers.
Judy,
Judy Basher, community member.
anybody I missed? Okay, good. Let's kick it off with the soccer field enhancements. I'm gonna read you a few bullets of text, and then we'll kick it over to Dennis and Mike McCoy in a minute. All right, so at the 10-9 Facilities Committee meeting, there was a renewed advocacy for improvements in the soccer field at Woodlands and a request to create task force to study the options. Members joined, two members of the people advocating for the soccer fields joined the Facilities Committee. There's a commitment to address the matter. At the 10-21 board meeting, there are 12 members of the public who spoke in favor of upgrades to the Woodlands soccer field. They were promised a response at the next board meeting. They got one, though it wasn't as detailed because at the 11-12 Facilities Committee meeting, the athletic director gave a presentation on the soccer field. We looked at pictures and discussed the long and short-term options for the field. However, none of the soccer advocates were at the Facilities Committee meeting because they were expecting a response at the next board meeting. So on 12-2, Dennis Pugliese, Dr. Chisholm, Mike McCoy met with some of the soccer advocates. And at this point, could you tell us what occurred at that meeting, Mr. McCoy?
Yes, good evening. So we met right before the holiday break. And we listened to the concerns from the parents, and we explained some of the things that were brought up at the recent board meetings by the soccer players and parents, and kind of right the wrong of some of the information that was explained at the board meeting. We answered any questions that they had, and we reminded them, and as we said, is that the new turf field in stock is a multi-purpose field. It's not a football field, it's a soccer field. It's lined for soccer. When we were scheduled to play there last fall, all the home soccer games were going to be at that field. The practices, majority of the practice would also be there. We worked with the football coaches and the soccer coaches where we would split the field for practices. Now the modified JVs obviously would be able to play there just because of scheduling and things like that. Once the seasons were over, modified JV usually goes like 2 or 3 weeks longer, so they would get an opportunity to also play on the turf field. And we answered any questions that they have. We kind of I went over some of the local schools that we in the area that we play and compared them of how many turf fields they have and compared to what we have. It's similar. And every school, most of the school districts in the area we compete with are in the same board as us.
Okay, so that pretty much. I think we have a few soccer yes.
Is there a way that I can say something about it?
Yes.
So to clarify, it's like they changed because the football field, it was a football field.
Hmm.
Now that you guys renovated, you're making it also be.
It's not true. The field, the football field was.
Yes, they practiced before there, but the sign doesn't say soccer and football field, right?
But,
So-
I mean, it's,
And we talked about this, Mr. McCoy, when we had the meeting, so I'm not lying about it.
I never said you were lying about it, but the field down, the original field was lined for soccer. They didn't play all their games down there, but they did play some of their games down there. So the field has always been lined for soccer.
Okay, yes, they did practice there. I'm not saying that they didn't, but the priority for that field was for the football games. Yes,
Just as a former soccer parent, I know for at least 3 seasons, 4 seasons, when my boys were playing, they played the majority of their games, like 85% or more at that field, at the turf field. I just would like to throw that in there
and
from my
now,
personal
and-
observation.
at the meeting, it was also said that it's only for varsity. It's not for all the teams. So that means it's not a soccer field because you will include all the teams.
How, can I, and I said to the meeting, how were we supposed to play with, we have a varsity boys team, a varsity girls team, a football team, varsity, a modified football team, JV soccer, modified soccer, how, so. if you
That's
can-
why.
But how can we do
The
this?
field that it's not being renovated or it's not being really prepared for the soccer, that's the soccer field.
And I showed you the
So-
area, I surveyed the areas, teams that we played, and we are similar to all the schools that have similar to us.
Sorry, but are we gonna be able to step it up? Because we can compare our district to so many other districts in so many other things, right? So if we can just renovate the soccer field,
Sure, go ahead, Tracy.
So are there plans to, whether it's a timeline, whatever, plans to renovate the soccer field that's over here, right here?
Okay,
No. Okay.
so
No, I'm asking.
we have a bullet list of what could be done in the short term.
Okay.
And what could be done in the long term because of all the complaints that were made. And I would propose that we move one of the long-term bullets back to the short-term list. And we have to decide whether or not that's a wise move, given our financial situation,
Right,
okay?
okay.
So take a look at page 2 of the agenda. So the short-term improvements that we said we could do and took care of. We put garbage cans in the area so that there wasn't as much trash because there was a place to put it. The new goals have already been provided. There are extra goals all around. Portable digital scoreboard is available. We may not have been using, but it's there. Depression in the baseball field. I think we're gonna try to address that.
We're
Dennis,
gonna try to apply some clay.
okay? And then the long-term improvements, because we've got this idea of phase 4, our next big construction thing, right? And so we had a number of bullets of possibilities for that. And the first one is fencing and netting, including a quote for a 6-foot high fence near the goals with a 25-foot high ball stop net behind the goals at a total cost of $60,000 to $70,000. And if you didn't have enough money for that, if you just took the nets, because sometimes the ball will go over the fence and at one end there's an embankment and it goes down the hill, okay? If you just did the nets, it'd be 29,000.
Can I ask a question? about
Yeah,
that? Is that price because we have to use certain vendors for the nets?
the quotes.
Then we go with the vendor to the lowest price off of like a data. They bid for the project for the county, the state, and they come up the lowest bidder gets the contract.
So that's like, and I'm hearing other parents say that's the cost.
We have to pay a prevailing wage. When you're in the school district, and that's the lowest company that came in with a bid for the county or the state.
Okay.
Again, just an observation,
Mm-hmm.
changing it from a 4-foot fence to a 6-foot fence, 6-foot fence, I don't think is worth the additional cost because usually when a ball goes over, it's going over above 10 feet or more. So I don't think it's worth that additional. That's just my 2 cents from observing multiple soccer games over multiple years.
So you think it needs to be an 8-foot or a 10-foot fence?
I don't even It could be both, I think the netting is what's needed, frankly,
Okay,
my two
All right.
cents.
and then there's the expensive thing, which is making an entirely an artificial turf field. And that will go on the list of options that we're going to look at for our long-term plan. And therefore, there's, you know, an idea of an additional scoreboard and small bleachers along the length of the field so that there are more places to sit and people aren't tempted to get, you know, close to the line or over the line. So, yeah, so I'm thinking if anything, we should probably go for the net, and if we could get the fence, I thought the fence was a good idea, maybe you'd rather repair the existing fence?
So the other people can comment.
Is the
if they would
plan
serve,
for, is the plan for the varsity games to be down at the field and then the JV games are here, right?
Depending on field space.
Depending on field space.
Clarification.
Can I just say something? I just feel in my own opinion, right, you have all this amount of kids, a lot of kids. Probably this year, you're gonna have more kids that will be joining. Don't you feel that they will feel discouraged? And they will feel left, like let's say, I don't really care because my kid will be playing at the varsity right down there. But what about the other? Because I felt the same way when my child was at JV. So, and that's why we started expressing our concern, right, through the coach. Because he's the one that trains them. He's the one that is always there with them. So shouldn't we take in consideration his opinion as well? Or how can we include the coach to be part of like a meeting?
Okay.
Or what's your opinion? How do you think the other kids are gonna feel? Maybe they're not gonna wanna join the program, you know? I think we should make it fair for everybody.
I just wanna piggyback off of that. I can tell you, so my son played for JV this year or last season. And what she's saying has validity to it. Even though he does enjoy the soccer program, because of the condition of the soccer field, and you know, when you're saying that the varsity team is gonna play on the turf field and JV is gonna play here and modified is gonna play there, they all feel like second and third class citizens. So what would motivate them to continue to play for Greenburgh when they can go play club soccer and always play on turf and have better conditions and feel like a first class citizen? They're gonna say, well, the district, they're not good anyway, so who cares? I'm just gonna put all of my time and effort and have my mom spend time chauffeuring me back and forth to my club soccer games, not Greenburgh soccer games. And then the program could potentially disappear over time.
I'm
Yes,
gonna be unpopular, but I'm just gonna observe my kids played both school soccer and club soccer. It was more about who they're playing the game with. When we played club soccer, it was on turf and grass. The first year they played here in 7th and 8th grade, it was on the JV and modified fields. Again, it was more about who they're playing with. We are a small school district. We have very limited funds and a very long list. I don't think that the answer is that we're never going to do something. I think we're just trying to look at what can we do in the short term to improve things with an eye to what may happen over the long term. Okay.
okay,
And one more thing, sorry. And with her comment about the fence, those children send that ball way past 10 feet. I mean, if you were gonna spend money, you probably, like the netting is a lot more important. That's what really catches that ball, not 6 or 10. That thing goes like 25 feet up. Especially the
Okay.
older that they get and the more power they have. I mean, I have an 11-year-old and he'll send that ball 25 feet up in the air with no issue.
okay, so
It's
the,
like kicking a field goal. That's when it
Yeah,
goes over.
it's
hot.
yes,
If playing in the middle here, I think what we're gonna come down to is whether the Greenburgh Central School District will take soccer seriously as they take basketball they take football. I think when you're looking at soccer's a global, we're an IB school. Soccer's a global thing. It's rising faster than anything else. Keep pushing the can down, 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 down. And I feel the kids who started in 4th, 5th, 6th, and now are seniors have been watching that can. And it's a little depressing for the community to see that. And I don't have anybody in soccer, so I can say that, you know, open-mindedly, it seems like they love to kick the soccer can down. They can't find the fun, but they'll find the fun for something else, and they can find it very quickly. And it comes down to when you're gonna put up to be over. Because I'm not saying it's a racial thing, I'm just gonna say it's a global thing. So I think Greenburgh Central School District has got to start thinking ahead when you got a sport that takes on all diversity.
Okay. Anybody else? I want to ask, Meryl? Yeah, yes, Ms. Meryl.
It's okay.
Can we afford it? And how would we, should we put it, if we, let's say that we decide on the $29,000 and put up a 25-foot net?
So can we afford the $29,000?
Right, and is it better to finance it out of existing reserves or out of the budget?
Well, it's not budgeted in 25, 26. So we would be looking, if we want to include it in the budget, we would be looking during budget development to try to fund it in next school year, 26, 27. Obviously, $29,000 is much different than something that is millions of dollars. I think we are aware of what we have in our capital reserve, at least we were as of June 30th, which is a little over $2 million. So I thought there was another option that we were going to discuss tonight, which I haven't heard brought up, which was on the project list. McCoy, I think it had to do with the other fields,
Yeah,
and like
so-
the field in the back.
So the one thing is that I would love every field in the turf. If it was up to me and we had the money, turf everything. It would save I would agree. It would save Dennis, it would save us, it would save the district. But we realize that about the funds. You know, we look as is my position or any director's position, we look at what we have to build for the future. And when we had the 5-year plan or 10-year plan, we looked at, you know, the tennis courts, the basketball courts, the football field, the soccer field, and that's what the baseball and softball field are getting left out too. So, you know, you look at this soccer field, and when Dennis and I spoke to the company that did our turf field, we had them look at the soccer field. And it's a lot to do. So one of the options we look at is look at the turf, look at turfing the football, the baseball, softball field, and outline the outfield as a soccer field. So it might be a little bit smaller than a regulation, but it would be good for a modified and JV. A neighboring district does that. Alexander Hamilton has a turf field, and then up above, they have a turf field that they can play modified and soccer, JV out.
Yes,
a little bit
I've
smaller.
been, the whole place is wall carpet. Yeah.
Right, and I think that would be a better option for us, because it's maybe might be a little bit more, but you're really doing more than one project. You're accomplishing the baseball, the softball field, and the soccer field.
All right, correct. So long term, there is a list. It's item 4 on your agenda, right? And there are a whole raft of possibilities, and one of them is soccer fields. And we got 2.4 million in there, soup to nuts. If we did everything, we're looking to refigure the numbers. Okay, but long term, we may do that. But I'm talking about short term, meaning it goes into the budget that we're gonna vote on. And we add $29,000, and we still look at the long term thing, because we'll need the net regardless of what else we do. So I think
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are there other funding options Like, are there other ways we can get funds? I know with tennis, we had looked at, tennis association grant. Are we able to look at other funding options as well to kind of put money into soccer?
I have no objection.
We have to do some research and see
Yeah.
what's out there. I know we've been attempting to secure funding for the science lab project and for the mansion. We have sent, well, me personally have only sent one letter, but prior to me, there were multiple letters that went out and we've had no response. So we do have a COSER with BOCES that helps us secure grants. So that's something we could reach out to them and ask them if there are any athletic grants out there that we may be eligible for. That's something that they would have more knowledge about. Definitely worth looking into.
So I will leave that to you. I'm gonna make a motion at this point. I move that the facilities committee recommend that we install some stop netting for 29 for a total of approximately $29,000.
Second.
Okay. So now, does anybody want to talk further or should we vote on it?
That's for the 26, I mean.
26, 27, but.
Yes, 26, 27.
Which starts July 1st, so the work could theoretically be done if we get bids and all that before the season starts.
Correct.
FYI.
Yes, yes, we'll see if we can find it.
I am about to put, but I used to come here to Eastchester and play. Williams soccer. We played at Greenburgh Park that night, just mentioned. And I was the goalie. It was quite a game. But I want to say this, because I'm around the campus, the JV, you're right, the field is not appropriate. However, they get attention because it's by the school. The kids are watching, even the football team practices there, I think. So there is a benefit to being closer. The field has to be appropriate, I agree. But when you do this, and Mike is leading it with Dennis, it'd be perfect because kids can be attracted to soccer. Because that's what we're trying to do with basketball. Yeah, it's easier with basketball, but because it's closer to the actual building, once it's done, I think it's gonna work out great. Because kids who are wondering if they want to play soccer, modified and JV, are gonna see that when they walk out of school. I don't know what kind of crowds you get down when you have to walk so far. So like soccer, what? It's pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, yeah, the football people know. I don't know if you all know, I helped build that press book for you. The reason I'm saying that though is far, you all know it. So your point is right with the field condition or whatever the netting, but the advantage is you're close. So I think if you had a real field there, the varsity soccer would probably rather play there. That's all basically saying. I don't know, Mike, if that's even possible.
That's how it was done back in the day.
That's when we came here, we didn't go to Rumba, we played there. We didn't play down there. We played, I'm pretty sure, locally, not close, but I'm just saying, somehow they can improve the field condition. The JV and modified benefit by being closer to the building. That's the way I see it.
That's how it was done for many, many years. I'm an alum here.
I know.
Okay. They played varsity soccer games where the baseball diamond is today.
I played it.
A little bit further out. It worked.
It worked.
At that time, so that's all I can tell you.
But somehow, again, I'm not gonna get in the middle of this, other than to say, I know we're in the building, so we see it around the building. And to me, like the tennis courts, right, we opened that was fantastic. Imagine if those tennis courts were by the football. It would be like disconnected. I know this is a terrific campus, but there is a kind of a disconnect from that going down there. The football days, everyone's walking, the band's going down, like being in a college situation. But during the week on game, I don't know, what kind of crowds, Mike, are they getting down there for soccer?
If they're gonna come to a game, they're gonna come to a game that's here, or they're gonna come to a game that's down there.
I'm just wondering, like parents, but I'm just saying the students are.
Yeah.
Right, good.
Some
Okay.
people, some people. And also, I just wanna say one more thing.
Yeah, just mid.
Oh, sorry.
Say one more thing.
Yeah, we're not just advocating for just the state of soccer program. I feel that everybody will be, it will benefit everyone. You have the skids at recess that go out there. Sometimes they've been through a lot of stress. We're not in their shoes, we don't know what they go through during the whole day. That's time for them to go sit outside, relax. Kind of like a therapy for teachers, anybody. So if you have a decent place, I'm sure they will love it. And that it'll be much better for them. So it's not just like the players, for everyone.
Yeah. True. In school spirit, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Piggybacking off of what you said, there is a bigger crowd when the games are up here, either on the current JV varsity field and even if it's just, a parent picking up their child that stayed after school and they're like, oh, my friend's playing, can I just stay a couple of minutes? Versus if it was down there, mom or dad is like, we're not doing that. But if it's right here, they're like, okay, I can just sit on my laptop and do something. Okay, so there is a bigger.
If they had the money, it would be both.
Right.
Have the choice, and Mike would decide based on teams or whatever. So if we could afford it, it'd be nice to have both.
Yes.
Yes, what do you say?
Right, Mike?
Just, sorry, I didn't know. Sorry.
I'm
Just a
basketball coach.
We're discussing the motion, right?
question on that. Assuming the committee supports this, is this something that could be? And assuming the long-term vision of the field, this is something that could be reused. It's not, lack of better words, we're not just. The nets could be reused in the future is what I'm trying to ask. Or would they be
Yeah.
replaced or
They're
upgraded?
gonna keep them, they need them.
Yeah, they should be able to be replaced, even if the field was redone and the
Like what
the
is
lower fence was probably come down, I think, at the field.
what is the life of the nets theoretically? Like 3 years?
A few years, I would think. I would think a few years without, the poles should be up there in case, unless somebody vandalizes them, climbs up, they get bent.
Right,
easily.
right.
But the netting should last a couple of seasons.
Okay, Chris.
So I had one question on the topic and then I had other things to say if we're not gonna.
No, I wanna call the question, but.
So you mentioned the poles. I was gonna ask, is the netting inclusive of the poles that it requires?
Well, the poles would go up and you just have to purchase some netting.
So we would put up,
The
The tall
netting, you have
poles.
to.
okay,
secure
so that's an additional
cost.
dollar amount, okay. Poles extra, okay, and then just on to hear my other 2 cents about stuff that we're not actually voting on. I would recommend, I agree with what people are saying about the audience. It would be fantastic if for next year, we've got some great signage around the district. If we could have a game day sign at the entrance to the field that could be used for football, soccer, flag football, whatever, just a generic Falcons game day to put there on game days. That would be great. So people leaving or entering campus, if they want to go check it out, they could. I agree. It's great when I had a kid modified and a kid on, I think it was a varsity, but kid in both, then I could easily go right now on the grass fields from one to the other and see the games. Whereas if I'm going from the turf field to a grass field, that was a little more difficult. And I forgot the third thing I was going to say. Oh, well, I'll come back to it.
So Trustee Warner, I just have 2 things. One, we do need to talk about, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but people are coming to this with their animals and letting them off loose on our fields. I know there's trails and I could go back and forth. I'm an animal owner, animal lover, but literally people drive onto campus with their animals and go onto the fields and let them soccer field, baseball field, both soccer fields, whatever, over here. I don't know what happens down at the turf field if they're doing that, because I'm not there, but I physically have seen. And I'm like looking and I'm running after people, but they're.
Not a violation.
Yeah.
Technically.
Kids are here, it's during the day. I don't know if they're picking up behind the dog, so that's one issue. The second thing, if we are gonna commit to making some improvements, which I do support. Are we keeping I forgot what it's called, Mr. Pugliese, a log of like what year we did, what type of field and what we replaced? Ms. Barahona's question, made me think of if we are replacing things like nets in 2026, when's the next expectation to start looking at those things to replace those things.
Yeah,
So
like we started that,
I'm not sure if it's you. or
I did
it's
ask
one
like with the
of
tennis
us,
courts,
but-
we asked the manufacturer, how often do we
Right.
have to repaint this, because you have to put that into your budget for me.
That's what I'm saying,
How
to
long
keep up
typically?
with. And when was the last time some of the soccer things were updated? Do we have any of that information or?
Well, obviously, there's gonna be a purchase order for soccer goals,
For
right?
netting, sometimes some things are vandalized also, like we had just the last episode, when they broke into the press box. Some of the goals were damaged also, and they were fairly new.
I was gonna say, one of the things about the field with the people walking their dogs. I think just even starting with a few signs to let them know you're serious about the soccer field. A lot of those people don't even know it's a soccer field. They don't even know it's a baseball field. It doesn't look like an athletic field when you drive up. I mean, we know it is. But if you're sitting there and these folks say, well, they're not taking it serious, look, they don't even cut the grass. They're gonna let their animals go. But if we start paying attention to it and keeping things up, put a few signs up and say, this is an athletic field, please keep your dog or whatever, or at least you're telling them we're serious. You know, you can't walk into the gym with your dog and start playing, everybody will be, ah. So take it serious on the outside too. And maybe put up 4 or 5 signs. You don't have to be expensive signs. We don't have to go leave the right field. Just put up a couple signs, say, keep your pets off, please.
Good point.
I just wanna say the last thing. So. I've been in the committee for 3 years, and I think I just gonna. Repeat myself again, and I expressed these concerns 3 years ago. So just have that into consideration.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna echo Steve. One time I was here, the girls. I can't remember who it was probably varsity soccer was in the summer about to have a practice and there's a man with a dog. And I went up to, and a couple, a woman, man and woman, and I was like, they're about to have practice, can you please, you shouldn't be here. And they pointed to the sign that said, oh, we didn't think it was a problem because the only sign we saw was curb your dog. Like across the way from, the field and this little. So I remember talking to somebody, did we put up another sign? That
We
above it?
put up-
I think we did, that said it more specifically.
I think I've seen a sign
There's
that's
a sign, but it's not that big. Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah. That was because.
Covers everything, doesn't it?
Saying, well,
Okay.
that's curb your dog.
But there is a difference between someone coming, after hours when school is closed, I wouldn't, but there is a difference between a community member that walks in the facilities and comes when school is closed versus when kids are practicing, you see kids out on the field, kids are walking around campus and bringing your dogs, large dogs, going off leash and letting them run. I mean, I don't know that a sign would would even matter.
That person was.
The more we do, the more compliance we'll get, and it's not gonna be total, it's not gonna be complete, it's not going to work in all cases. But it will work in some cases.
Right.
And so we should ramp up what we do until we start getting results.
I don't know, we would have to ask Mr. McCoy.
I think, yeah, go.
Or.
I'm just gonna say,
Yes.
the sign,
Sorry.
and I mean, if the fields were. Resembled more athletic field, people would respect that just
Yeah,
for,
but it looks
Mhm.
would you walk into Nordstrom knowing that you typically shop at Target? No, you wouldn't do that, so. That's what would happen, and then if the coaches are just diligent about sending a message to the respective coach and say, please make sure that your players' parents. Don't bring their furry friends, or if they do, they have to hang out in the car while they watch you play. I mean, because we're not saying you can't have the dog with you in the car, it's just we don't want you on the field.
This was not parents, by the way, but I've never had it, seen it with parents. This is. I have.
Community.
Okay, let's vote so that I can stop worrying about voting and then we can go ahead and further discuss this. All right, all those in favor of recommending to the board $29,000 for stop netting for the soccer field, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Okay, you're a member. 1, 2, 3.
We don't.
Members only. 5,
But I would definitely say that's something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should.
Plan on doing, you know.
Okay, so 9-4. And those opposed? Okay, good. All right, that is a recommendation. You'll hear about it at the next board meeting. Okay, yeah.
Can we get a quote on the polls too, so that it's voted on together? Those items kind of need to go together.
Voted on together?
Voted on?
Right, but you're saying it's gonna go to the board to be voted on, but if we need to
No, if
purchase
you're gonna put it in
polls.
the budget.
Then you're
Okay.
gonna change the amount and then you're gonna,
Okay.
well,
So we
you're
need
gonna have to,
I already have the quotes. Yeah, and,
Well, I think itemized, where
yeah.
so.
They're gonna put it in their budget.
yeah. She's going to come up with a proposal and
Yeah,
take it to
we'll
the
go in
board
there.
and we'll give our recommendation and the board will decide.
Okay.
That's how it works. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Hopefully last thing on the topic, I just want to also recommend. The district makes a small amount of money on facility rentals. And I would recommend that perhaps when we're in season on that field, that we limit the third-party usage of that field as much as possible. Because the wear and tear on the grass fields, when it's in constant daily use, and then that also includes weekends, is an issue. If we could restrict those third parties to off-season times or less frequent or less smaller, I know that may cut into the funding, but I think we should just look at it for common sense. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's a question, trustee Warren on the back.
Go ahead.
Chris, I appreciate you bringing up the fee, like the rental fees, because that's something that we talked about with the tennis courts, and when we talked about redoing the track fields was the potential revenue that was coming in. So that was one of the pros of pushing for it, was because of our location, we can have more events here. Is there a place simply where those funds are tracked? Because like, or if, when they start going, I think that would be helpful for the public to know also, especially as we're going towards the budget, to know where, you know, we did this investment, it did cost us this much, but we've now been able to generate this much revenue off of it. And I know we haven't been able to do that yet with the track and field, because it's not open. But I do think that's important to keep in the conversation, because I know that helped convince me to vote to support it, because of the potential that it would help pay for itself. It's kind of like an energy performance contract, right, for sports. So thinking of that, I think as we're showing the pictures to the public, also saying we've now generated this much revenue because we're able to rent out our facilities. But I do agree that's a smart point of prioritizing our students in the space when they need to be most in that space. To have like another team pair it up when we're not able to do it, would make sense.
Okay. Good thought. Cost versus benefit. Okay. All right. At this point, Mr. John Rappaport, I'm gonna change the order that we go through the items in the agenda.
We have one more question.
I'll go for it.
Next for her.
Go ahead.
Just to better understand, what does long-term look like for the project with soccer field? Is that, you know, 27, 28 school year?
That is going to be dependent upon how much money we have in our capital reserve fund and how much of that is encumbered for other projects. And yes.
We have a lot of open projects right now that we are not sure how much more we need to pay, because there's been some delays that we've run into. So once those projects start to close out, we'll have a little bit of a better idea. And then it needs to be a discussion, you know, depending on the scope of the project. Some things, you know, we could incorporate into the budget. Other things are much larger, and then we need to look to other ideas if, the board is interested in pursuing those. But you know, we only have right now, because we used a lot of the reserve money over the last year for the water main project and different things. So right now, we're a little over $2 million. When you're looking at a possible turf project that is gonna be over $1 million, that's gonna wipe out most of your reserve. Not to mention, there's a lot of other things in our infrastructure of our buildings that still need to be done. So there was a lot, I'm fairly new to the district. I've only been here about 4 months. It seems like there was a long period of time where there was nothing done. And we have a lot of projects that are still in motion. And we're trying to catch up with, you know, maintenance. Our buildings need a lot of maintenance and different things. So right now, it's a little bit hard to predict what we can afford at this point in time. We're early on in the budget season. We're waiting next week. We should hear from the governor with some estimated aid runs. We're not even sure what our aid is going to be at this point. And then it all comes down to, you know, the final state budget that if it gets passed in April. So there's a lot of different things that affect, you know, we also want to make sure we maintain our programs and different things like that. I mean, I totally agree that it's really nice to improve our athletic facilities. It seems like Greenburgh has done a great job in a lot of the areas recently over the last couple of years, but there just is so much else that needs to be done as well.
If my only ask is if we could just like keep an eye on that, what like long-term looks like, because I think that's kind of the bigger question that is very like
It could be
unknown,
forever.
because it could be in 5 years because of, we understand there's other things, you know. We would never as parents want the soccer field to have precedence over the safety of the children in one of the buildings. I mean, that,
Right.
you know, we have our children in the building. But there's an unknown question mark, and we can talk about this for 3 years and nothing gets done, and that's really what, if we could just keep a tab on this, you know, that this actually comes to fruition and what that looks like.
I think it's a decision that's much larger than me.
Sure.
I do just want to edit, yes, I know this conversation started 3 years ago, but it was not forgotten. The soccer fields have been kept on that list. And if you looked back at any agendas, they've always been on there. It's just, again, we had $120 million or $100 million bond because there was $100 million worth of work that had to get done in this district. The work didn't go away when that bond didn't pass. So it's not that we forgot the soccer fields, it's not that we ignored them. In this committee, we worked very hard to figure out what can fit in what money and get a budget passed. Because budgets weren't passing for years, which is why they didn't have the money to keep the maintenance up. So I just want to say very clearly, as someone who spends a lot of time in these meetings, we didn't forget them. They've been there. It's just sometimes the priorities have to shift a little bit.
No, it is also that I don't know. Priority. Every person has a different priority, and that it seems like it's not fair. Because I was only alone here expressing my concerns, but it was only me. So now there is more time, so you prioritize things in a different way. Because I came to one of those meetings and the soccer field was included, and I didn't vote for the soccer field. Because I felt that there was another priority,
Yes,
was a priority.
and one solution to that is that if you look at this chart and you feel that an item is high priority and we must do it for safety reasons, and we want to pair it off with another thing that we think will be popular and get the votes to pass when people vote on the money for it, then we could combine two things.
But it started in this committee, right?
Mhm.
It starts here,
Yep,
and that's what I'm saying. I was the only one expressing my concerns about the soccer field. I was the only one advocating for it.
okay. Go ahead.
Trustee Warner, I know you want to turn it over to item, I forget what, later on, but
Yeah.
I am just going to say this. Since we are being broadcast, I think it's important to say that this committee, and like what Ms. Muldoon is saying, this committee has been hard at work on this for multiple years, for much more than 3 years. And we've gotten a lot of good feedback from the community, but I also want to point out that we hear from people who aren't able to come to the meetings. You had parents from Bailey talking about the playing field there for years. There's other schools in our district as well. So I just want to say that while this committee has done a lot of good work and given a lot of good input, there are other voices out there, and not to mention the community members who don't have kids in the school. So I just want to say that any feedback is appreciated and valued and heard and remembered. But I also want to point out to everyone listening, since this is broadcast, that your voices matter too. So please continue to share feedback. That's all. I know you want to move on to the next.
Okay, good. And go to item number 7. Towards the end of the agenda. Mansion. At the June 18th meeting last year, the Facilities Committee reviewed the history of the mansion, its closure, and the long-term desire to restore and reopen it. The building is structurally sound, but has ventilation and water damage issues. The project has been in discussion for approximately 6 years. Okay, so yes, do you think 3 years is bad? Okay. Including delays due to COVID-19. We discussed issues of overcrowding at Leah Jackson and Woodlands as a result of the mansion evacuation of students and staff. John Rappaport of Component Assembly Systems, who's also our boys varsity basketball coach, presented a proposal to restore the mansion. He highlighted the company's experience, previous donations to the district, and connections to potential benefactors. The proposal includes leveraging industry contacts. Construction photography people were brought in to take some pictures. The estimated total cost of restoration was about $20 million. The committee was asked to provide a letter of recommendation for endorsing the project, and John Rappaport is the lead. If approved, the proposal would move the full Board of Education for consideration, followed by a legal review and the preparation of a joint letter, and the target, he was go for it. Okay. The Facilities Committee recommended that we proceed with caution. The district should draft a letter of support, provided that our legal firm verifies the legality of this method of completion, since it appears to bypass the usual RFP bid process. We have a clear path for NYSED approval of the plans. The project includes ventilation and ADA compliance components, so you can get a wheelchair into the building. The instructional areas restored should be for secondary students with appropriate bathrooms. The packet of materials describing the project is revised to include an executive summary of the project, identify project components, eliminate duplicate materials, and clean up reference to the history sections. This recommendation was shared with the board and our legal firm. They recommended that we submit a letter directly to the potential donor soliciting a monetary donation. We can then issue an RFP or a bid using our regular bid procedures, which takes care of the NYSED requirement. Component Assembly Systems is then free to bid on the RFP in a fair and open process. History of the mansion has been updated. So I think we ought to show, do you want to go over this?
In terms of
Yeah, sure.
Bring up,
the prior thing.
yeah, we at the
I mean, we voted to go forward. The thing is now, the letter that you had said, so based on what I'm seeing here, recommendation, okay, they recommended, which is the board and the legal firm, related.
yes, the board went to, yes.
They recommended that we submit a letter directly to the donors. I'm gonna prepare that letter, just so everyone understands. Then how do you want me to handle that? You're gonna then give it to lawyers again? Look at the letter?
Yes.
Yeah, our lawyers have to look at it.
Yeah, so any donation letters, if you want to prepare it, that's fine, but we will then need to present it to our legal for review before being sent.
Yeah.
Because the problem from my perspective is, how involved should you be if there's an RFP process and you're gonna bid in the
We're not gonna
RFP?
bid.
You're not gonna bid, okay.
We do very large buildings all over, it's like family's company, but we're the drywall company. John works with it too. But it's not this type of project for us.
Okay,
So it's not about us getting any work. And we, again, with the, say, the press box, we just donated labor and materials. I don't know how that went down. Matt Smith was the AD at the time, but it took 3 years for the state to approve that. And we just provided labor. It was quite a bit of money, and we just gave it to the district as we wanted that football thing there. And I was a coach for the team at the time. So what I'm saying is, we have done this before. In this case, I was in charge of that. This one is a lot more. I don't have a $20 million check. I should did. But the man who grew up in this area, you could probably almost assume we'll talk about, is a very, very generous man. He grew up in Dobbs Ferry, Ardsley, Greenburgh. Went to Ardsley till 8th grade, I think. 9th grade. He then went to prep school to Harvard. He lives out in California.
You spent some at Mercy College as well.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At least a year, semester.
I didn't know that. Okay. So the thing is, he basically is a Greenburgh person, right? And there's connections to the supervisor, et cetera. So, and, I didn't mention this, I went to law school with one of his top executives. All right, that's the connection. And I had one more. Our company built his office. Literally in California, we have offices around. The drywall and other interior finishes in his, literally in his office. And that building was built by me. My dad. Not physically, but we bid on it. Our company went in, Point West, and we got the contract to build their office and his specific office. So if he trusts us to put the walls around in a very private setting. So I'm pulling this back, and I happen to be the coach with John. My dad just watched the game. We just won today, right down in the Falcons' neck. So the reason I'm saying that is he's supporting this as well. But we're not looking to bid on. So, this
okay,
letter.
so
This is a different
this is a different letter.
This
This is
letter is that?
That's for the science
lab.
because because Chan Zuckerberg also supports science.
Oh, nice.
So
Oh, they're
we're
big.
trying every avenue we can.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're
We
looking.
do have a
for-
draft, but it's not ready.
Has that letter been submitted to the
Yes,
Zuckerberg group already?
yes.
Okay.
December 8th, it was submitted, it was reviewed by our legal prior to being sent.
I don't know that.
So the agenda,
History of the mansion.
history of the mansion, yeah. Okay,
How much was that request for?
There was no monetary amount in it. It was for any amount they're willing to give us.
Can I get a copy of the letter?
Sure.
yeah, you've got an invitation, an email invitation to this meeting. So that takes you to Google Drive and you can pull documentation off of anything we show here.
How did that come up to think of that? That's wondering.
This committee had asked us to put a letter together, so we put a letter together and had legal review it, and once it was approved.
Did you reference that he was from the area? Or not?
No,
So it didn't have anything.
it's a
to do with that.
generic,
It's a generic
Generic
letter.
request.
right,
Yeah,
so we've gone to various biomedical firms and it's a generic.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, so here is the front section of your of the presentation you gave it in draft form, right?
Yeah.
So this should replace what's in the front. So we talk about Felix Warburg and his wife and the history of the mansion, the business about his younger son Edward and the New York City Ballet, starting the New York City Ballet outside the mansion. Basically, they had a performance. They brought George Balanchine over from Europe. They paid for a steamship ticket, and in return he wrote a ballet for them and performed it for Ed's birthday. And so that's like a historic thing that's associated with the mansion. And then this talks about the use of the mansion for about 50 years or so to crank it forward. Check. Right, becoming part of the district, the donation, the gift, that we were a forward-thinking Princeton plan district. And they donated the land and the mansion became a combination administration building. And at first it was kindergarten students, and later it was ECP students. And this went on until about 2019. And then the roof finally gave out and we evacuated. And so that pretty much is the history up to this point. And you can put that in place of the email that you had put in the front of your draft presentation that you presented to us last June. And we should have that on here.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
There's a little more to with the history of the mansion, to what the mansion's been used for.
Okay.
I know when I went here back in the 90s, there was optional school held in the
I
mansion.
put in the term optional, yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if other people have, you know, as a kid, so I don't know, you know, adult wise, what else was going on there, but is there a way to find out historically from people what else has the mansion been utilized for?
You also said that there was a danger of our relying upon reminiscence instead of on factual documentation. And I wasn't able to find any additional factual documentation, so I copied in your thing about it being optional.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any historical information at all on what else was here.
Is it, part of it, is it part of the National Register?
No,
It is not.
At the point, if we put ourselves on the National Historic Registry, then we have to abide by their rules.
Oh, it's
So
a
we
good
had
thing
a
in this
slate
case.
roof and no one knew how to replace the slate shingles. And it's like, okay, let's put a modern roof on it, but we couldn't do that. It was historical.
Of course.
Right. So it's kind of like that. So we don't want to go there.
Yeah. It's good.
But we did look into it
But yeah.
from a.
See, when I drive around campus, I look at it's a letterhead, there's the castle or the mansion.
Right.
Everything we do, like when I'm representing the school or going around, I think about the fact that the symbol of the district has not been open for 6 years. That's a very bad scenario. And so since my best friend from law school literally walked the letter through the general counsel's office to Mark. And he knows we built his office. You know, he doesn't know all the contractors, but we have a letter explains, we have a photo in I think we might have given our brochure of that work. But just think of these things. I happen to be the coach. I mean, it's too obvious, like somehow to put these together. Now, the difference is you're sending it with thousands of people requesting. I think it's good we did that. But this letter's gonna be walked in.
I didn't have the connections that you have, so I think it's wonderful that you're gonna help us.
Go ahead.
I don't wanna harp on this, but just there's data out there that supports, you know, good athletic programs build great leaders. And we're having a great science program, which will also build future leaders. At a $20 million price point, is there a way that we can encompass 2 or 3 more million to, you know, Mr. McCoy, we can do our dream setup for this at that price
With
point?
the athletic, we just went through.
If you can slide it all there. I'm just saying, I don't wanna harp on it, but at that price point, it's like buying a $85,000 car. You're not gonna go and tell a salesperson, hey, like, can you give me a 5,000? You're buying an $85,000 car. This is not a $10,000. So at that price point, you know, and you don't have to do, if it makes sense to just put in another 2 million at that point. It's not if we were asking 5 million and saying, hey, can we do another?
Let me explain one
million?
thing.
Sure.
So I was an assistant coach here 10 years ago. So I'm in the locker room. Literally, all of a sudden, sludge started coming up from the drain. Okay, and I happen to be the last one in the locker room. So all of a sudden, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. So right then and there, I said, this has to change. Meaning like this building, I would want him to do this building. But my hope is he comes here, does this, and we get him do this. Because this needs it, right? Of course, we then, by doing the mansion, you start opening up for wrestling, that does not have a facility. It's been quite obviously, but it's just that they're going into the cafeteria, do their wrestling. And then the gym with the weight room is technically a little questionable because people can come in and out from the community. And there's no security. Should be down over here, right, Dennis? Where they can go on the side or something. So we want to present as best we can the idea of the mansion affecting this building, and then kind of pull them in. You know, just imagine we have a ribbon and Tim there and his family. We got, you know, he's gonna want, this campus is the best, one of the best in the country for a high school and middle school. We can't forget it's Woodlands Middle High School, right? So the thing is, I think based on he's an outdoors person, he's an athlete. And I think once we get him here, or you know, I like the idea too. I just don't want to add because the mansion project. Maybe you could say, well, around the mansion, you know, that. But when that sludge thing hit, I'm like, and then once I realized my friend from law school was he's in the top echelon of the legal part of the community. But when then we built his office, I started putting in like, you know, again, since we did the press box, I also did the trophy case and we added a few trophies there. So it's like the next thing. I mean, personally, that we've done well as coaches, but imagine the influence and impact and benefit to doing that mansion. First of all, the symbol district has to open. I have this like crazy thing in my head, and I didn't even go to school here, but we're really happy to be coaches. So we want this done. We can add that. I don't know. I don't even know if that was approved. We got a 10-0 vote right at that moment, June 18th or 17th, I think. 10-0 vote to go forward. And the idea of having a letter, if the lawyers look at it and say, well, what does this have to do with the mansion? And then it gets put aside, because we've been waiting, not a year, 8 months.
Right.
My friend keeps asking, where's the letter?
Try and find the proposal.
Yeah, sure. This one?
Action point or decision point right now. So
There's nothing really. We don't follow.
At this point, we've resolved the issue, which I thought he was going to end up hitting on something he was helping to prepare, and he's resolved it, so he's not gonna bid.
No.
Okay, so.
That was never really the intention, we were gonna help.
Right, so at this point.
That's the proposal, if you didn't see.
He's gonna write the letter, so we're talking about things that he can add to the letter.
Yeah,
And
that's a good suggestion, I would love that,
There-
you know, I heard about, you told me.
right, that has to be replaced, okay,
It's a great point.
with the new text.
I wanna
Okay,
see
and
it.
then here's your pictures, right?
These are the photos that I had a construction photography, come out, they're on sideways, but. So when Mark gets this, and I think he might actually look at it,
Yeah.
because again,
Hardwood floors, where the swimming pool used to be, and was it later ECP classrooms, and the mansion. Just-
Rotating.
document. So you're
It was summer home.
So,
he won't see.
All right, yeah, so we were looking at the pictures, not.
Keep going.
rotate.
Okay, while we're waiting for that, can I just make a comment?
Sure.
I don't know, what's your name? Melissa, okay, so you're reminding me though. Like, we do have some connections, or we've had some, like, what's the deal with, I don't know if you can say in the meeting, but I noticed this summer we got a donation from Shaquille O'Neal. Basketball, but is he interested in soccer?
What did he give us? I didn't get it.
Does his kid
Like 5,000, right?
Hard to feel that.
Aren't they right?
Oh, nice, that's right.
Yeah, so I don't know, you know, does he wanna continue supporting the district? Is he reaching out to him? Somebody else or?
What you're saying right there, that Shaquille O'Neal donated to our district, are we allowed to like promote that and say that? Because that opens up a lot for other celebrities to come in or other people in the district to come in and make a donation or want to even make a donation.
You know, yeah, I don't know if there's friendly competition between philanthropists.
Right.
There are
People
people.
don't like to be
They don't
acknowledged,
like,
so,
they like to be anonymous.
yeah.
It was on the board agenda, so I.
Yeah, it's public.
It's public. But yeah, I was like.
It was fine.
Some of this is, went to, like, personal in the sense that I'm going to my friend, Bill is on. Was happy to get the Nanny Jackson Award. Why? They're gonna put that in a letter, I guess. Is that meaningful?
Yeah.
You guys told me. I mean, I don't know. I came here as the basketball coach, and since we've had success,
Oh.
it has affected the community. And therefore, I think it's the time to do it now.
Right. So just for clarity, with the summer donation, someone did know the celebrity and mentioned it, and they were willing to give. I don't know if they would be willing to give for, it was someone, so, you know, the administration is aware of that connection, and they can mention it. I don't know if that person will feel comfortable asking, or if there's something else they might be asking for already, or if
What are they
that was
using the
one
money
that
for?
I don't know.
What are they using the money
It was for a summer
It
program.
was for
Oh.
summer, I think it was for the books, or I don't remember.
It was-
You weren't even here yet.
I wasn't here yet, but I read something, it was for
Yeah.
something with the summer program, and I wanna say there maybe was even some money left over at the end of the summer that they wanted to use towards something else in the
Yeah.
building.
So I mean, and there
Books,
are
maybe.
people that do make donations, famous or not. And you know, all of us, we may know somebody that may be willing to help with donating either money or items. It's a greatly
There.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Hey,
you
okay,
know, they know.
Main lobby.
They can, you know.
the boardroom.
So if a parent reach out, it's just like independently a parent that, you know, whatever.
Old district clerk's office.
School and, you know, if we don't know, like personally the person, but we would just wanna reach out and ask.
Superintendent's office.
So this situation, I think that they personally,
Okay,
Wow.
so basically, let's say I know some, right, they love my child, or my kid, they write a letter. And
absolutely, yeah.
Got it.
a parent can do.
Thanks.
It doesn't.
People can always ask for, yeah.
Like it can be a parent.
Parents can also always advocate for different things to celebrities. I know people do all the time now, if they read it, if they take it seriously, I don't know.
Thank you.
My friend's name is Henry Moniz. And I say, he is the chief compliance officer for Meadow. I guess that's right up there at the top, right? And Mr. Moniz is waiting, very, very close. He calls it, where's the letter? Now we can go forward, right?
Yep.
So we're gonna prepare a draft letter, which we'll certainly work on with Trustee Warner, Board President Mayers, Mr. McCoy, and Dennis. Obviously, everyone can see it, but I wanna get the draft just right. Because it's a sensitive issue, my friend is gonna be, you know, going forward. And he played basketball in college, and he's a diverse, you know, we have a diverse group here, this isn't just two of us. So he provides diversity, which is good stuff. And by the way, I believe in diversity, I think right now it's not a good subject, but we gotta promote that right now. Cause it, you know, which is true, this is a great district because of that. Because of that. We're all the same, I don't know, it's so great, you know. So I'm saying, there's so much here that can provide, imagine the media coverage. Right, I mean, in a good way, and by the way, they've had some issues there with some of that. Not so great, I don't think it's intentional on, you know. The chairman and the CEO's part, she's a good, very good person, it's just a matter of being such a big company. My opinion, I'm not gonna, I don't know all the details, but all the kids use these things, especially Instagram. So imagine the whole thing coming around where on Instagram you have literally a worldwide opening of a mansion. So we gotta think big, and we're ranked #1 in the state right now. Everyone can know this. The Woodlands Falcons are the #1 ranked team in New York State, as we sit here, the Class B. So we gotta think big. That's the final, we'll see what we do, but, and he'll know where the basketball coach is, and it's gonna come from John, meaning that's how this all is happening. It was the basketball coach, yeah.
One of our, when you mentioned the award that you got, one of our goalkeepers for the varsity, actually the goalkeeper for the varsity team, he won, I think a Guinness World Record something.
Really?
As a
Yeah.
bookkeeper.
As a keeper, like for the most days or something like that, I would advertise that as well.
Yeah, you're right. I think we should add another thing.
Alright,
I mean, we have-
you should understand that we have, I think Greenburgh 8 adopted the Princeton plan. Back around the time when you had the great migration to the suburbs,
Yeah.
town versus the Board of Education.
Yeah.
So they made a decision to donate this land
Oh, nice.
to the Greenburgh 8 district because it was a diverse and inclusive
Nice.
district.
Let's add that.
So
And
that's,
like I said, he's from literally Greenburgh. Town. I mean, it just adds up to, let's try. Anyway,
great.
thank you. We're gonna be back to you with the letter soon. Because we still wanna do it during the basketball season. Good, we gotta go. We just I gotta call in the sport. Right?
Thank you.
You guys have your schedule
Jay,
right or?
it looks like JB just won. It looks like JB just won.
Okay.
We're gonna, you wanna bring the schedule?
Yes,
Yeah.
We're gonna email it to everyone. Okay. But we're on this email today or no? Are we on this?
Yes,
You're right.
Make sure that
All right, so
you.
we'll send you all schedule.
Next game is Friday here, 6:15.
That's right.
6:30.
There's no place sent on
Hi.
schedule.
Yeah,
6:15, 6:30.
the girl plays at 4:30, the boys play right after, so.
Oh,
6:15, 6:30 Friday.
We're one program, we love the girls, G and D, every. Monitor.
You can click on. the-
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no line to get in. How many times? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna give you T-stripes, we expect you to get.
There.
At the November 12th facilities meeting, we debated providing public access to the new tennis courts at Woodlands. We're back on number 3. An issue was how to provide a welcoming access to Greenburgh community while maintaining student access as primary and protecting the courts from vandalism. We agreed to survey surrounding districts to see how they control public access to their tennis courts before making a recommendation as a committee. And Dr. Merrill.
I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. McCoy. We did survey the neighboring districts and he's gonna report out for us.
So, so instead of going through what, I would say 99% of the other districts are doing the same thing, where it's, it's open. And people are allowed to use it. The issue like we've talked about here is the other use of it. So, thanks to Ms. Merrill, who also reached out to a neighboring district, and I reached out to their AD. I think we have a inexpensive option, which I think will work, and I think Dennis and I actually spoke about it today, and it might help out with the other facilities that things that we have to help out too. And it's very simple. It's a Bluetooth lock that goes on the courts. And when a community member would like to use the courts, they would reach out to me through a Google Doc. We gotta work through all that yet.
Yeah.
And they register. And when they register, I give them a code for the hours that they want it. And they go on and use it, and then they lock it when they leave. Dennis and I looked at the cameras, we could see who's on the course at that time. Once they leave, that code is done, so like, Mr. Police wants to use it from 10 to 11, at 11 o'clock, that code is expired. Okay, and it can't be reused. We'll work out the logistics, like when I was talking to the other AD, he does that, he says, somebody texts me at 11 o'clock or at 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, they can't be open to get on it at 8 o'clock. They would have to be at the 24-hour, things like that. I think that's the best option. I think that it would work for everyone on our side and on the community side. We would know who has access to it because they would fill out a form. They would get the code. We could also, we talked about even like coaches would have a permanent code to get onto it. So they wouldn't even have keys anymore. Keys are gone. It would just be a code where it's to get on.
Have you considered having a combination lock, electronic lock? Where you distribute the code and change the code periodically. So you're not gonna be bothered 100 times per week.
But let's say that you want to use your pretty quick
I'm registered with the district.
So you're free to use it, you would have a code that we would give out, that's what he said, he's like, if he has community members that use it. 3, 4.
Without having to contact.
Correct.
That's fine.
Could you reserve a number of spots?
Oh, like a subdivision or so.
Every Tuesday at 6 to 8, then.
Hold on, because he asked something and I'm not sure that it's clear.
Okay.
He said without contacting you, but if you're gonna have other people, if she wants to use it and she wants to use it, you have them scheduled, he may think it's free.
But he would have to say like, listen, I want you to give on Saturday mornings at 8
So
o'clock
we would have to
for a month or whatever, that he would have that.
There's something else we could do.
We could have a calendar, it was just something we'd have to figure out and work out.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify, because I think,
We did address this at the last minute, the question about a reservation system came up. It's still a possibility, it's affordable. If you guys decided you wanted to go forward with that, I will volunteer to source it, install it, and maintain it. For 1 year, I'll commit for 1 year on it.
What program would that be through?
There's, what software is it?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking me? There's about 10 or 12 vendors. There's 1 or 2 that are more popular than any of the others. The one I would recommend is called Court Reserve. I mean, one can look it up. It's pretty basic. It's very basic. And the cost is, I was kind of shocked how low the cost is.
The nice thing about the one that Pleasantville uses, I think it's called Master Bolt Lock, am I correct? It's free. The only thing we pay is for the digital lock. And
Okay.
they vary from $65 to $300.
The price I saw today for Court Reserve is $99 a month.
I mean, it's not super expensive, but obviously we wanna be fiscally responsible, and if we can find something that works.
I haven't had experience with that, so I can't comment on it.
Yeah.
We only have 4 courts. So it's not gonna be as complex as some,
Right.
so there's 18 courts. But
I think
if we get a lot of attention, which I suspect we will, that court time's gonna run out very fast without a system of some sort.
think specific systems, probably that discussion should wait until we get the generics and do the official recommendation. And the board agrees to open it to the public before we get into the details, because we'll just probably check the legalities on donation and choice, all of that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to.
Katie.
It was on.
I have a question, and I don't know if Mr. McCoy, this came up in your discussions, but with people already doing this, but is it a concern? I'm just wondering what happens when, say, community member, Mr. McCoy is there, and then who has the code? And then Katie McGee comes up,
Right.
I don't have any code or whatever, and I'm like, hey man, let me go, can I play after you? You know, me and my husband, we're just gonna play, and like, I just slip in there.
Right.
And then there's no record of who I am and how long I'm.
And that's what I've talked to other ADs about, they've said, their tennis courts are open. It's not publicly announced that it's open, but people do use them. And they say, the tennis community kind of monitors itself, so, if we're playing on it and somebody else comes on it after us and you're still playing and you see them bring their kids on it with skateboards and things like that,
Right.
we're kind of that's the issue,
Yeah.
not the people playing tennis, and that's the issue that every community deals with. It's the skateboards, the bikes, the barbecues that occur here,
Right.
so those are the things, and what is nice is with, especially with the lights that are just put up there, the camera vision is perfect. Like you can see the person's face, you can see who they are, and the camera's in the parking lot, so we have to monitor it, we definitely have to monitor, but I agree with you, like, somebody's gonna say, oh, can I just sneak in for the day, or like the hour?
Right, and like, no one on Greenburgh, no one on the weekends or the evenings is here to monitor, right? Or do you have a camera where you can, no one's gonna be looking at the camera.
If there's abuse in if there's abuse in court, then they'll.
Whether it's snowing, it's snowing, having somebody in on the
It's not
weekends.
gonna be, it would be randomly, wow, we just caught somebody there. It's
Yeah.
not, like somebody detrimental, no,
It's always after the fact,
you're right.
that's when we have the issue down
It's
the
like the
field.
same, right, it's just the same issue that we have
It
every.
can be police periodically, retroactive. problem, the cops will be up here.
Okay.
The one thing I do want to mention that
Yeah.
was a difference between some of the neighboring districts is a lot of them said allowing the use of the courts during the school day was because they were not on the campus where the school building was. So again, our courts are right here on campus. And once a decision is made as to if we are going to open them up, I think we need to really consider student safety for during the daytime when school's in session.
I have a suggestion for that, with just one line, you can just prohibit use. Prior to 3 p.m. on school days, that's it, it
Right.
takes care of everything.
Yeah, and obviously when the season is going on and the teams are using.
Obviously, if there's a team event,
Right.
Yes.
nobody uses.
Then there's no.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excuse me, David, I have my hand up for some time.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I saw you clapping earlier, sorry, missed it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think, we are talking about a lot of different possibilities without having any data. I think the first thing we should do is just some of the questions that we're asking. What do you do if someone come behind you? Ask other districts, what have been their experience? It could be that we're debating a non-existing problem, or it is a real problem. The only way we're going to know that is to take a survey of all the districts around us and ask how do they manage that. And I think by just doing that, a lot of our questions might be answered.
All right, we have done that,
Done that,
and they're reporting on the results of their survey of other districts.
How many other districts?
How many districts?
I personally spoke to 5 or 6. I have the ones that I spoke to actually. Hang on here. Hastings on the Hudson, Botanical Hills, Pleasantville, Croton, Brewster. We basically have a business official listserv. I put it out there and those are the folks that responded to me. One of the ones that I kind of felt was pretty good was Botanical Hills. So their response was, we put in new tennis courts, pickleball courts with lights a few years ago. They went to a swipe card system, which is a little bit different than what Pleasantville is doing. Into the facilities for district residents when school was not in session. And they set a policy for guest usage with a resident due to the amount of people that were coming at night to play pickleball. So, they basically told us how they did it. Nobody has actually said that they're having any issues with the current systems that they have in place. We could always go back to those districts and ask additional questions. We did the survey, and after speaking with Mr. McCoy, we felt that Pleasantville had the most cost-effective and the easiest to maintain.
So the
system
recommendation
in
is
place.
the Pleasantville technology, and if we.
That
deal
would
with
be,
the-
that is
the rules.
our recommendation.
And there was a question, there was a responsibility.
I'm gonna make a recommendation, if you did go that route with the master vault system that she's suggesting. Simply having a sign on the tennis court that says you can book your appointment with a QR code. So they can scan it right there and then book their court session or whatnot. So that they know now it is required that you have to book a session before even going into.
I think we were also gonna discuss signage, correct?
Correct.
Right?
So, go ahead.
One of the things that I was listening to the district. We're very unique in the fact that Botanical Hills is a whole different animal.
Oh, yeah,
You can literally see somebody damaging something from the street on 448. So they really can't compare to us. You look at Brewster, or I've been down to Hastings, kind of hard to compare. So we have to take all that into effect. I've been to every single school
Right.
you mentioned.
Right.
Walked underground, know the ground, know their lighting. You know, we're unique. It's dark here. People can come in from so many directions. You can hop over a fence from Stone Oak. They know that.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about telling them. But the idea is we really have to come up with, I'm gonna use that word global, what we're gonna do about safety on our campus. Whether they should be allowed to play during the day. Is that a safety concern for people, you know, open the door for people to come to the campus?
It's a safety concern for me.
Yeah,
That is a
and,
concern that I.
and so, do we want to
We can
even
solve
have?
that very easily. As I mentioned, it can be restricted during school hours on school days. That's it, end of story.
Correct.
Okay, that's not a concern.
We'd have to just find school hours, though, because you said until 3, but we have kids here until 6:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'm just
you-
saying, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying, these are things. that
Yeah,
are-
that's how I define it based on the schedule of the schools. Okay, you have people being active.
There's class time and then there's extracurricular. time.
Yeah, fine, but we have public facilities all over the town, they're used by many different groups at all different hours. There's nothing unusual about after, you know, at school.
Okay, do you have a recommendation on hours?
Yeah, I just think that you can, very simple, is just saying that it's used after 3 o'clock unless a school event is occurring.
Okay.
Reservations are required.
That applies during school days, and if there's a school event, obviously, it always takes priority. That's the end of it.
And no dogs on the court.
That's
Just
what-
saying.
No dog allowed.
No black soled shoes.
No
right.
bicycles,
Right,
because you'll ruin that surface.
right, that's what we're most.
I have a
concerned about.
question though, maybe because I haven't actually gone down and gone on to the courts. How many gates are there to get in?
What we would do is we'd have there are four or five openings, but we would just put the locks on the 2 that go on the courts. The other one would have district master locks.
Right.
That we would
But
just
if
have
it's
keys to.
Court.
No, the courts are all
Which goes back to-
open
So
through
there's
one
two doors,
gate.
one door, one gate access.
There's one
two,
entrance.
And then one entrance that gets into court 3 and 4.
So would the people who are reserving court 1 and 2 have the same code?
Right.
Or would they have different codes? Like, these are like little quirks
Things we'd have
that
to
I
figure out.
think need to be worked
So you
out if
can't
we
get to-
decide, if the board decides to go this route.
You can't get to court 3 and 4 by going in,
Right, yes.
Okay,
He's a-
so there's a
he's
little bit of
Yeah.
restriction, which is good.
but you can. So really, one door can access all the courts.
But you don't want to, if you're playing, and if you're playing on court 1, and I gotta go to court 4, I don't want to get into your.
No, no.
So you can just, but the gates are right next to each other, so you to go to the
Right, but
left.
there's,
No,
but
there's a fence in between court 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Two banks.
But my point, my question, I guess my point is access.
Yeah,
So you
to-
you can't give access only to one court at a time.
you can, because you put 2 different locks.
You can give access to 2 courts at a time.
Maybe I need to go there.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's fenced in.
Right.
It's not, each individual court is not fenced in.
Right, that's
There's
what.
one set of 2 courts and a second set of 2 courts.
Okay. All right, I think I'm hearing pretty much consensus, so we should go forward with a recommendation.
Hold on,
to
I don't know if
the
we're
board.
hearing consensus, so I'm gonna ask my questions,
Go ahead.
Sure.
which we're gonna come up later, but if they're registering. So we don't, so currently the weight room is open to the public. And currently we have a supervisor up there and people sign in. So there is supervision when people are using the weight room. This would be unsupervised use of this facility. Where am I thinking? I'm trying to figure out the facility use form. Or what permission or what, since there's no oversight, I'm trying to figure out. How does all of that fit together, or is it not a relevant piece of the puzzle? And I don't know if we have the answer tonight, I'm not asking for it tonight, I just need to know that it's been thought of and is being looked into before I'm ready to say anything official as far as my personal opinion.
Yeah, you can, right, because I'm just, I'm actually meeting with the Pleasantville AD tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's gonna give me everything that they use there.
But it's basically going through the AD. There is not like an approval process, like they're registering with him.
It's a third party using facilities. Normally,
Yes.
right, when people are here without permission,
Yeah.
you know, there's just
It's a
stuff we need to.
slippery slope.
Right.
I'm just gonna shut up, but I think you get where I'm going.
Yes, possible signage.
I'm dealing with most adults here,
Yes.
99% would be over 18, probably more than.
I don't know, do we put an age limit on it? I mean,
But
this is another thing I was wondering
The
about.
weight room, mostly kids.
No, there's adult.
No adults there, but when I'm there, they're mostly kids. So you're gonna have supervision there for other reasons besides the reason you brought up.
But I think there's someone at the weight room because it's open to
I've
everyone.
been over there, you gotta have someone there.
Right, yeah, no,
I know who this guy is.
It's not-
Weights are dangerous and you could,
Right, we'd never not have supervision there if the room is open. no matter
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think that's a
Someone
good
can get,
comparison.
someone got their secret button.
Right, because the safety of those.
right. Is she?
So as
Can I
far as
ask a
not
question
having all
about
the
the-
information, I'm
Right.
not ready to vote, and if you're gonna move forward, I'll just.
Can I ask a question though about the tennis courts regarding?
Go ahead.
Another topic. Can I ask a question regarding the tennis courts with respect to the children, right, that go to school here? So like after school, a random Tuesday, at 4 o'clock, can kids go on the tennis courts? Or should they have to register?
Well,
How
kind
does
of a
that work?
loaded question, because why is that student after school supervised?
Maybe it's a varsity basketball player that wants to play, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
But kids are here
Right.
after school, they do run around in the fields, they're kids. I mean, it's after school, I don't know, maybe
And
their
we-
parents not home and they wanna hang out with friends, but what if they wanna play a pickup game of tennis or they want to
Great
play
question.
tennis? Like, I'm legitimately wondering, how does that work?
Excellent
A
question.
team, members of a team want to practice or play on their own, whether it's the boys or the girls, that can happen. Every school has that.
Right, so they need to register, I'm wondering, like, where does?
When their club ends and they're waiting for the bus and I wanna go and I have a racket, why not go play a game on it, play the.
But the court's gonna be locked.
This is another one of my questions that I didn't ask, so I'm glad you
Oh.
asked it.
I'm sorry.
I'm not- I feel like we don't, for me, I don't feel like we.
I think he can work that out as the athletic director. If one procedure doesn't work, he can adopt another.
I agree, there should be further conversations and maybe a policy on usage that the board approves.
And if our school district children, because it could be that I told mom I'm gonna stay and play tennis.
Right.
And you're gonna come pick me up at 4:15.
Right.
Mom's okay, you're not staying to do tennis because it's off season, you're not staying to do after school homework, but you are being productive and mom knows because she's gonna come pick you up. I mean, that's a legitimate. You're not, being mischievous on campus and then, but that would be a legitimate reason that they're there. And then would our children take precedence over community members too? Like,
The athletic director
It's
control.
renovated for the children,
Yeah.
right? Not for the community members.
I mean, yes,
It's
it's
school,
the
right?
the community members have access to it, but like,
It's gotta be worked out, I think.
Mr.
Administration.
Yeah, if you.
Walter.
Pleasantville AD, that.
and we could produce a Serena and Venus,
Yeah.
and when we were talking about an age limit, you can have a 4-year-old. I mean, my kid started soccer at 3 and 4 years old. You can play with that at that age with your parent.
Wait, so that is a question.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Walter.
To ask,
Speak.
Yeah, I think we're mixing up objectives. If we say that the number one objective is the safety of our children, then we have to put in some some process to begin that. So the first process will say that you could use you cannot use the court when it's being used by the school. So whether or not whatever hour that the district decide it is the students will be using it, then it's fine. If you want to say 3 o'clock, unless there are other activities of the district, then fine. So therefore, you set a limit when the students can use it and when the community can use it. The other point when you're talking about you don't want kids unsupervised and they should have a code. So if you're on a team, they have a code. So then we talk about the situation that a child is not on a team, but they have a half hour or so to play tennis. And if you're interested in the safety of the child, then that child has to get a code from their parents to say that, and they're registered. So either you're going to set up a system where all the kids are protected, and that will mean in some cases that child who have a half hour might have to go through a procedure to get registered. And because you could always find an exception to any rule and say, what about this case? And what about that case? And you could go on and on with exceptions. But it comes to a point you have to draw a baseline and say, this is the cutoff point. And if you want to do anything outside of that, then you have to get permission.
Sounds good.
I just think it's just my biggest concern is as the athletic director is who's responsible for the kid that's going to be playing after school. We have, my biggest concern has been the weight room for 9 years that I've been the athletic director. We have to sign in this building between 7 and 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, anybody's allowed in. So who's responsible for that student, child who wants to go play? And I agree with you. They text you and say, I'm going to play tennis today after school. Who's responsible for that student? I'm pretty much here by myself with maybe 2 or 3 security guards. I have a concern with that, with the students
What
playing.
about the gym? Do they have pickup games in the gyms?
No.
Oh,
They're not allowed to. Okay. Nobody's allowed unless there's clubs or,
Organized
school
event.
help. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if we're staying for a game, yeah, but if we had a basketball game today, it didn't start at 5 o'clock, kids stayed after, but we kept them in here till 4:30, they came down and sat in the bleachers, they can't go to the court and play a game. When there's a soccer game that starts at 4:30, we don't let them.
And there
go.
are adults around.
Correct.
During that time. When we add one other thing to the mix, because it's gonna come up, so you probably want to know about it now. There are gonna be coaches, private coaches, that come in and try to use the courts for commercial purposes, which, I mean, that's their business, but there's only 4 courts. And you'll have someone who'll try to camp out there all day. I'm sure the school district doesn't want it to be used for that purpose. Now, you can do it 2 ways. Some communities say you have to have written permission from the AD or whoever.
Which goes back to
And
the
then
facility use.
we will allow this. Or other communities, just straight out, tell you upfront, it's not gonna happen. There's gonna be no commercial use.
How do you identify? If you walk in with a child, how do I know you're not dad and child instead of coach
Well,
and
that's
child?
fine. That's fine. That's not commercial use. So the verbiage I have here is the use of these courts for private or commercial tennis instruction is prohibited. It's clear, neutral, and enforceable. So in this case, private means non-public, like another business, not the school, like it's a family or a person relationship. It's not private. It's something else, But that's just something that you want to get upfront, get that rule in or whatever you want to do with that.
We had an issue on the field still. I
Yeah,
played on
yeah.
Saturday and seeing cones out with somebody, I'm not playing with my son, that's not your son. Get them all.
So you have, like a coach will come up.
They're doing individual training.
I guarantee you,
Claim that they're
this will happen the first week, because tennis is known,
Also, if you're coaching individually, it doesn't look like you have a team out there. You can do one-on-one.
Okay,
that's usually how it is.
Right, so it's
So-
hard to identify the camera.
so we've got a bunch of open, yeah, we need to move on. Okay,
No,
go ahead, Katie.
Oh, well, I know we're trying to move on. Mr. McCoy. I just was wondering too, when we opened the track, what's been the policy on what kids wanna just run after school, run a mile, handle the track, if you have a policy of that and that. We didn't break our ankle either place,
Absolutely.
the tennis courts or the track.
I've been working with the company that, with the signage, that does it for all the like different tennis courts and fields and things like, so there's a genetic. So I've been sending them what we talked about with like playing for the verbiage, so they're ready to go for us once we get our approved with our logos and things like that. And that's one of them. I actually was at Valhalla over the summer. And what they have on their track, I think was the best, I don't have it on me, just the verbiage on there, which kind of protects the district a little bit too, because, you know, you can use it, but, you know.
They keep theirs watched too, don't they? I
It's a-
guess I'm going there when it's.
You have to walk around racks. Yeah, we keep playing games.
So with the track, since it came up, are we going to do that zigzag entrance?
So on the fence, to be to, when you walk in, so it's a single,
You can't bring
So no
in
bikes,
A
no.
bike.
yes.
a bike
Yes.
or scooters or whatever.
I
Like
think
a
that they should,
zigzag.
you know, sometimes maybe you could just lift the thing over,
Yeah.
because it's only a 4-foot fence.
So are we doing the zigzag fencing? That came up in the last meeting.
Each side has a wide open gate that would be locked, obviously.
Right.
But I think on the far side, there was the zigzag gate, because I was talking, they ripped down the containers.
I don't see anybody from SAD and.
Okay.
Making sure I agree with you.
Just one thing, when we talked about tennis court, the track, the soccer, whatever. I mean, if you have families that live very close, like within walking distance of school, what happens if they walked home, got a snack? And came back because mom gave them the code to the tennis court, or they wanted to go, you know, walk a mile because it's 70 degrees, whatever. Is that when you're gonna say, okay, there needs to be an age limit, or who's, you know, who's supervising the child? Well, you went home and you came back, now as a student community member.
I don't know, I remember you know. In my day, in ancient times, okay, if I wanted to go to the racquetball courts or whatever other facilities we had at my school, we just went and no one watched us and there was no problem. So,
Something happened, that's.
yeah, so the need for there to be supervision is not the cultural norm that I come from.
I'm just throwing it out there because.
But I think trustee Fallon said that these are questions that are all gonna be looked into, so I think we can all feel safe that. All topics will be covered by the Board of Ed and Administration.
And I would also add that we really should take the safety committee of the, I think we have to merge it, because this is more than just a town thing, or, you know, this is a safety thing also, because we're in the woods, we're called woodland for a reason. That all these other schools and stuff like that, you can go in with 35, 40 feet. This is a different ballgame, you know, and I've been here for a long time myself, so I know these woods. And trust me, they're wood. So we have to have that
All right.
He walks the campus every morning.
All right, so the recommendation, I've got, it's unsupervised. Its registration is in advance, it's open after 3 if no tennis events. It's AD has a software to register for limited time periods. There are lock codes that work for 2 courts, and signage will be.
I'll have everything to you guys before the spring, so whenever, before, you know, the spring season, before the track and the tennis courts open officially for approval.
Okay, and were you recommending that there are open slots on the weekend
For the tennis court?
for the tennis courts?
And that's a board decision, not really a.
Yeah, you gotta, those are 7-day-a-week facilities.
Right, so I'm going to present whatever our recommendation is to the board, and then the board will decide. But what is our recommendation?
7 days a week.
Yeah, 7
When
days.
school's not in session.
I need to, I just,
But
I
there's
have
a couple areas that
Okay,
We're not making a recommendation on that.
Recommendations come from this, this committee is apparently going to make a recommendation.
yes,
But the board will also want to hear the recommendation from admin in addition to the committee recommendation.
of course, the board can do whatever.
Okay, just need to say.
All right, so is that what we want to go forward with?
Yes.
Those in favor? Aye, okay, great, moving on.
All right, the ayes have it.
Yeah, I don't.
The ayes have it.
So let's,
All right,
I
sorry,
mean, if I'm
no,
just saying we're gonna.
Am I allowed to vote or no?
you're. No, not like, remember?
I mean, David, I mean.
Liaison, some
Being
people.
consistent, being regular, commissioners, committee, in prior years, you only took votes from members. And tonight, we're just kind of getting consensus and, oh, 2 people raised their hand, and oh, that's consent. I just want you to be consistent in the way we make recommendations from this committee. please.
My understanding of procedure is that you do a voice vote if there's no controversy. If there is controversy, then you do vote, and then if it looks too close to call, then you
Right,
do a roll call vote.
then let me be clear, and I'm sorry to harp on this, but when you present this to the board as the recommendation of this committee, because in the past you've given like 5 people or 7 people or whatever, I think it needs to be clear, just for consistency purposes. 7 people gave a voice vote, 2 of them remembered, you know, it gets a little dicey when we start changing the rules midstream, so I feel the need to say it out loud.
you wanna do roll call? Let's get everybody on the record.
I was gonna say.
The ones that have the board, only the members.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Only
you have
members.
a list of the members.
Yeah, who are the members?
Yes, I have the list of them. All right,
Okay.
yes or no to the recommendations?
Yeah.
Yes, 1.
You're a member, I think. Yes.
Keith Seguera, you are a member. Yes,
2.
2.
Here. Number 3.
Tracy,
That's more. No, I didn't.
yes. Okay, you are not a member.
Right.
I'm
Chris.
abstaining because I want more information.
Abstain.
David, don't kill me. Can you please repeat it? Because a lot has been discussed.
Can I just?
Tennis court public access. Unsupervised, meaning we don't have a person looking, there's a camera. Registration, and it requires registration in advance. Open after 3 p.m. If no tennis team events, set 7 days a week. The AD will have software to register for slots, and there will be lock codes on the court. Such that they will only open during certain hours. And that's pretty much it, and the rest is gonna be filled in by the AD and the signage and all that.
So you want
Yeah, that's 4.
No, it's 5.
And this is a recommendation to the board, this is not a decision.
Hey, do you know more members?
I'm on the committee.
The voting on-
Members here.
We're
I'm not a board member.
Okay, so you're both voting yes?
He's decided.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, great, we're up to 6.
That's it. Why
I
do we
think,
6?
I don't know, we don't have 6.
1, 2. We have 1. Okay, we have 1 abstention.
I just had a comment. Is it that,
David, I'm voting affirmative.
All right, now we have 6.
Yes.
All right, I vote yes.
Yeah, members.
7.
7.
No, we have 6 over here.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's not.
And yes.
Oh, you're not.
So this
Yes,
is yes there.
I didn't say yes, I wanted to comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is this the reservation, is this something that possibly needed to be tabled till next meeting, just to have additional questions, concerns, and information available so that when it's presented to the board, it's very strong and not filled with some holes? That the board's gonna come back and then it's gonna turn into, okay, go back to your facilities meeting and answer this and then come back to the next, I mean, is that
They can do that if they
Yeah.
want to.
where
think
we're
they're all-
going with?
There will
reservation?
always be.
Don't hold big questions.
And some of the holes will be filled in by the AD, you know, we have administration. And
The sooner they make a decision, the better.
Yeah,
Because there are people here who working full time here
Yeah,
that need, well, there's a lot to be done.
sure.
So the more time you give, more lead time you give them, the better it is for everybody.
Okay, and
I did vote yes.
yes, okay. So
Mr. Simon voted yes.
we have 9 yes
What
and
about Judy?
One
an
abstention.
abstention.
What about Judy? Is she a member?
She,
Didn't ask for Steve. Are you not on-
All right,
Steve?
I asked. her.
The lady on the. Oh,
Oh, Judy Bashar?
Is she a member?
I don't believe so.
oh, okay.
Okay. Moving on.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
so David, how do we transmit this decision to the?
I report to the boards. I'm a board member, so I go and I do
mean, like
report after
tomorrow
each one of
or-
these meetings. I
Oh,
go,
after the meeting, okay.
yes, I go to a board meeting and we have reports.
During our work session, we give reports.
Okay, great.
And if it's urgent, right, if it's urgent, then I may
Do something.
ask for an agenda item during the regular board discussion, during the other. Right, during the regular board meeting, but usually it waits until
Great.
there's a.
You have 2 comments.
Okay, go ahead.
In previous agendas, you've had the list of approved board approved members listed when you got votes, you tally us there.
Mhm.
I think that would help
Okay,
in future agendas, just to have that to kind of keep us moving in a clear fashion.
the OE. No, okay, sorry.
And since we talked about the track, just quick question, hopefully quick.
Mhm.
What is the date for the track opening? Do we have a tentative?
Depends on the
Are
weather.
you pick the other?
No, but if we have later weather, is there a date we're choosing, or we're just gonna go with the weather and then pick a date?
I don't think we've chosen a date. Basically, they've said once the weather reaches a certain
Right,
temperature at
55.
night, they're gonna need 2 weeks. Am I correct, Mr. Messina? 2 weeks?
Mr. Messina,
Is that,
Yes, good evening. Yes, you're correct. Once the weather turns and we have constant temperature, they'll schedule it early in the spring schedule and they'll need 2 weeks roughly to get it all done, soup to nuts.
it's gonna be an all weather track.
yeah,
And I missed this, is the community, will have access or will not have access to?
Similar to what we just discussed with the tennis courts, I think they'll get to the track when the
So
time
that
comes.
doesn't even come up.
That hasn't come up because it's not finished yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so,
Similar policies will ensue, which is a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
but,
so they've looked at the.
President Harris,
signage
were you
for the other.
referring to possibly picking like a ribbon cutting?
No,
date?
I'm wondering, like, is there a June thing we're looking at, is it July, we're looking at like a ribbon cutting?
I mean, I definitely-
Wait for the,
I
hate for
think
you to-
June would be safe.
I would hate for you to do a 2-week planning, like, oh, now it's warm,
I
now
know,
let's
I know.
plan something, so that's why.
I think June would probably be safe. We are busy in June. We have a lot going on with graduation and different things. But I think, wasn't there also something else?
We had
that was gonna
identified a
happen?
date in June that
We
coincided.
did already,
Yeah,
okay.
one of, I don't know, if we have wrote it down or, but one of those district event dates seemed to tie in nicely and would possibly be late enough, but I don't know.
And
Can I
If
ask
it was
you-
gonna go
And
to
there are
Dr.
those-
Chisholm because other things needed to possibly.
Can I ask you to leave that,
June 9th.
okay, can I ask you to leave that like somewhere in your agendas when you print them, like as a facilities committee meeting event, right? It's an event, but the committee's got it.
What event does it coincide with? Summer Night of
You're
Fun.
sponsoring it.
We're sponsoring it, it's,
Summer, it coincides with the Summer Night of Fun,
that's right, okay, thank you.
And their relatives.
right?
I mean, Mr. Messina, that's definitely doable, June, right? I mean,
I would think so.
I
I
don't
would think
think-
it's safe to say June, you would be on it. Yeah, unless we have a very rainy season for some reason and temperatures drop. Yeah, I highly doubt that. But as we get closer, we'll know. Yeah, as the date comes closer to that.
great.
All right, so, item 4, we're talking about phase 4, that is the next phase of construction. And we were talking about what projects should be included. For phase 3, back when we chose the science projects, we rank ordered several options, and science labs came out as the highest priority, and we want to do that again, and we're working towards that. And to do that, we have to have information on the options that we choose. So far, if you look at this chart, these are the options we have listed, and we're going to try and find out. Most of these top level options here are things that we've looked at before, but it was in 2023, and we needed updated information and costs. And we were looking to BBS for an update. And what progress have you made?
So the phase 1 and phase 2 back in 24, January actually of 24, it was priority 1 and 2, but it was just the building envelope. So we needed a little bit more time if you want to do all priority 1 and 2 items, inclusive at every building. I think by the next meeting in February, I'll have that spreadsheet updated for you to review. The other items in that list, I'll update them. But if you want a number tonight, I can give you off the cuff. I mean, all we're going to do is add 5% per year compounded to bring it to 2026. So, and add roughly another 10% to the numbers you see on your spreadsheet there. For example, the soccer field number at 2.4 million, add 10% to that, and that would cover it for a 2026 budget.
Wait, the soccer fields?
I just use that as an example. Yeah, 2.4 million. That was the number back in 2024. So, make it 2.5 million.
I want you to do it and write it down.
But I will. You will have it for next month. There just wasn't enough time between the last meeting 2.5 weeks ago and the holidays and everything to get it all done. So.
Okay, let's see. The ECP classrooms, we were looking for enrollment projections. The
registration is currently going on right now, so we do not have exact projections yet at this time for pre-K.
Okay, but usually there's a multi-year project. It's not, I'm not looking for exact numbers, but usually they calculate based upon what's happened in previous years and what the demographic makeup of the district is. What it'll be like for the next 5 years or so.
I did reach out and I'm waiting for a response. I don't have a projection to give you tonight.
Okay, and who are you reaching out to?
I reached out to curriculum.
All right. And, okay. Response, did they give a preliminary saying, I'll get back to you next week, or I'll get back to you next month, or?
I did not get a response.
Did not get a response, all right.
What's the issue, trustee Warner, that you're having?
So we're looking at,
tell me the number, because I'm on 5 and I don't see anything about ECP.
We're on number 4.
Why? Go ahead.
on number 4.
Okay, so, no, I see, okay, you're saying for the classrooms,
Right, so the basic procedure is we're gonna say, how much does it cost? How much money do we have? How much is available, right? And then we'll debate with all of our newfound knowledge and as to, how to rank order these programs.
we don't need to do this tonight.
We are not going to do this tonight because we don't have the numbers. Okay? Yes. Yes, sir.
I think it's critical that if we don't have the projection tonight, I think it's critical that we get some sort of commitment when those numbers can be obtained, because you really can't go through your budget, and it's a critical juncture point. So I think, whether or not the individual members of the school board or the president of the school board or the superintendent of the school board have to press the issue that we must get those projection numbers, because you really can't do anything with your budget if you don't get that type of information.
We actually have budget meetings scheduled for next week where I'm expecting to have those projection numbers.
Okay,
I believe I was asked yesterday for them, so it hasn't been a tremendous amount of time that we've been waiting for the answer. And I also believe BBS said that they would have your projections by the next meeting in February.
correct.
So I think we do have an estimated time of when we'll have what we need.
Or maybe you misunderstood my question. We were talking about the projection of enrollment. That's what
Right.
I was referring to.
Something that the building level leaders bring to the budget meetings, and those meetings are scheduled for next Tuesday.
Okay, so that's what I mean. That's fine. But the answer that was given before was that you had no idea. So that's what concerned me. If you're saying that we'll get that information next week, then fine. That's no problem.
Okay. You,
And David, I just wanted to be clear that the numbers we're gonna give you, we're excluding the last two items on your list. The energy performance contract, like I stated last month, you know, that RFP kind of has a deadline of February to get that out if you decide that that's what you want to do, because you're in a time crunch with the federal funding that's available that ends the December 31st of 27. So in order to make that timeline, that RFP needs to go out next month if you're going to go ahead and proceed with that.
all right, so if we don't know whether or not we're going to do it, then we can't make a decision. So, so we need some details on the projected scope. I think we talked about what, we said the RJ Bailey roof was too small. So the Lee F. Jackson Elementary School roof and the Woodlands High School roof, right?
Well, I just want to interject for a minute. That was one ESCO company that gave us that information. When you put the RFP out, you might have another company that says, no, we'll put panels at Bailey because the payback, would be the incentive to do the work. But you won't know what the project scope really is until you put the RFP out and then go through and comb through all those RFPs and see what everyone's proposing, just like we did the first phase of the EPC project. So that really is a standalone item, in my opinion, that you should just decide whether or not you want to do another EPC or not. And if you do, it has to happen quick now. If you don't, you don't. But that's not something we could put a number on. I don't know what that cost is going to be. And the same for the cell tower. That was my other comment. That the last item on your list, that I have no idea how to budget that. I don't know, Fred, if we've ever even done that in the past.
No, we have not done a cell tower in the past.
Yeah. So those two items I won't have for you next meeting.
Is there any cost to us to do the RFP or any commitment that we're making to go ahead? Okay.
Nope. No.
So I do recommend we go ahead with it. 2, at what point would we then have to bring it to the voters if we're going ahead to get that state aid back? Was it the 10%? Would that have to be this budget cycle or next if we were going to go ahead with it?
Technically, you don't have to go to the voters. You did that in order to get the additional 10% incentive aid, but I don't think we really have time because, as Mike mentioned, there's a deadline. The IRA monies for solar, which is a 30% reimbursement, will expire as of December 31st, 2027. So the system has to be installed and operational as of that date. So I don't think we would have time to go out to the voters, which means you lose your 10% incentive aid, but you pick up 33% tax reimbursement on all of the solar work you do. And if it's a solar only energy performance contract, which is what's being discussed, then you would actually get a third of that money back from the federal government.
Tax reimbursement.
Can I ask a question? Would it be, it would be an EPC lease, right? It would actually be a lease, and leases don't require a budget vote.
That's correct. You do not have to have a budget vote. The only thing a budget vote does for you is it gets you 10% additional incentive aid. Whereas if you just use board vote, you lose that 10% aid. But I don't think that would be a problem with the solar only project. And again, time is of the essence because that grant is going to expire December 31st, 27. So if we don't hit that timeline, then there's not going to be any money available to you.
I went over there, Heather, you both? No.
Okay, go Chris.
No, I have a different thing than my other thing, so come in. You said this is a federal tax incentive.
Correct.
We would get money from the federal tax filing, even though we're a tax exempt organization. Please explain that to me.
Yes.
It
It's a
feels like-
one-time check from the federal government for designing renewable energy type projects.
Big beautiful bill.
Right, but
Was in place before the big beautiful bill. The big beautiful bill is sunsetting out that rebate program that has to be completed and operational by the end of December 27.
okay, but again, help me understand something very basic. If we're tax exempt, we still file federal taxes. So if we don't have taxes to pay, are we still getting a check? Since we're not discounting it from taxes?
That's what he's saying.
I just need to rephrase it so it's in my brain if that's correct. I want to make sure I'm understanding.
No, even though you're a nonprofit and you don't pay taxes, it is called a tax rebate, but it's actually a tax incentive. So it's a one-time check that you would receive from the federal government for roughly 1/3 of the cost of the solar that you install.
How soon after the completion of the project do we get that check?
Once it's operational, so it would be the following year, so 2028, you would get that check.
Are we eligible for that on our current energy performance project that we're doing?
No, we had a conversation with the state and we are not allowed to do an addendum to add that scope to the project. The state said it would have to be a separate submission and we would have to go back out for an RFP in order to do that.
Not adding scope onto the existing project. I think, Ms. Merrill, if I may rephrase your question, she's talking about the solar panels we've already installed. Can we get credit for that work and submit for a reimbursement, a check for that?
Yes, you will. But the board had been talking about, and this committee had been talking about, when you did your roofs, it might make sense to go back out and put some more solar on there after the roofs are completed. And so this is the opportunity to do that and get the 1/3 back from the government.
I think we're asking a second question about the work that's been done. Would that also qualify for this incentive? And we should be
Yes.
seeking.
Yes, it will.
And who manages seeking that? Our business office or you guys?
RWE will help work through all of that paperwork and apply for that grant, but we can't do it until the installation is complete, which it is not as of yet.
Is that right?
That answers my question. Thank you.
So tickler to remind, to follow up again.
Yes.
All right, so we have a recommendation to go forward and send the RFP. So it just gives information about the district and lets the energy firms come up with what they think will work, basically.
It's a project scope, let's do a
Yeah.
bid, we're gonna
Okay.
bid on it. But that's no guarantee that we have to move forward with the project.
So
Correct.
since its specs are reviewed by legal as well before they
Of
come
course.
out in February.
Mr. Messina, if we decide to go to bid, can we get this to our legal and have them review it?
It's a different animal. It's just a request for proposal. So you're not technically bidding anything. You're just asking for, right, Fred, you did this last EPC project.
Yes.
It's nothing more than an advertisement to say we're looking to do an EPC solar project in our district.
And I've gone through the process when we turned it down. Cause we tried an energy performance contract previous to this.
We need to change the water main one. I was
Right.
actually gonna ask that off.
So it sounds like it's a no-brainer. Would you agree that we should go ahead with the RFP?
I'm not a member, I'm not allowed to vote, so I don't know if I.
As a member of the administration, you're allowed to make.
I mean, honestly, if it were me, I say yes. Because there's no risk. And we have a possibility of gaining something without taking on any risk. But you know, the decision is bigger than me. So, I mean, I would say, yes, I'd like to do it.
All right. You want me to call for a roll call?
You could ask just.
I believe everyone but Yasmin here is a member, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Comment.
Yes.
I think Walter has a comment.
okay,
Okay.
well, go ahead.
Okay, just for clarification, we were told that putting in a solar panel in operation by the end of this year is not doable. So is that a separate proposal, or we're proposing going ahead, even though we know it's not doable by the end of the year? Or am I mixing things up?
Did you say by December of 27?
Correct.
So it's actually not so it's really almost 2 years.
End of next.
Okay, but the question still remains, is that doable?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then fine. I said we should go forward.
Is that a vote for yes? Is that a vote for yes?
Yes, that's yes.
All right, Katie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
What's next? I wanna wait for a question then. Anything else?
All right, it shall be it is a recommendation. Thank you. All right, next item.
So you'll recommend it to the board and
I'll recommend it to
then,
the board.
and then we'll get back to BBS so they can write up whatever we need to advertise.
Yep.
And we'll have.
But to I'm sorry, I'm sorry, both the chair, board president, I'm just gonna reiterate.
That's right.
Thank you. That admin can always make the same or different recommendation,
Oh, sure.
depending on the information available to you. That's happened in the past. We depend on our administration as experts to make their own recommendations independent of this committee. So I just need to say that because we're all new. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I think since we agree on the recommendation.
Yeah,
It's not
I-
technically-
but I just keep saying it.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay, 5. Budget and board adopted facilities projects. This is been about the water main and
Great.
yeah, go ahead.
So who's fixing all the potholes?
Yes.
For the water main construction that was done?
The contractor has to restore any asphalt that they displaced. Right now, there's a bunch of potholes throughout the campus. We have stuff that.
Which are curiously adjacent to the repaved
Correct, in
portions.
the construction manager brought up too, that after they did the trench work, some areas around, you could see where it was, it's settled and it's on the fringe of.
Yep.
So there was they couldn't compact it properly, so
They're gonna come back.
there was some restoration that has to be done still.
And the timeliness of them coming back to do this work, will it be before the next snow
Before
and freeze?
before the asphalt.
Well, the
lines are
asphalt,
open
the
in the
asphalt,
spring.
companies, a lot of them are closed right
Yeah.
now, because I reached out to my contractor, we have a partial speed bump, at Bailey
Yeah.
that we
Right.
lost during the storm. There's several potholes around here. We're supposed to get some warmer weather next week, but it is gonna rain. A couple of the plants, if they have a big job, it might open up, so the contractors.
Is it possible that some of the potholes though are also a result of paving, plowing? Plowing during the
It's
storm?
it's typically the thawing and the freezing.
Yeah.
So
maybe just
some of
maybe
it,
roads have
some of
potholes
it could be
too.
from the plowing, of course, like with the speed bump, when the guys hit that, or it's weak, there's water on it.
Our asphalt repaving budget didn't look this year, but I looked one year and it was astronomical. It was a lot. So I just wanna make sure we're not on the hook for that. The actual construction company is supposed to come and repave
They
that.
have to restore
So
whatever they
they're
disturb.
supposed to restore it. We have to wait till it's warmer weather. So some of the larger potholes may get bigger, being that there may be snow or ice or whatever, plowing, whatever. is there, and I know you have a certain amount of staff, you guys are already scheduled for things, but is there monitoring of some of these potholes? that
Yeah,
don't-
typically what we do, we
if
have,
they get too big,
millings and we
or
go
something.
around and we take the machine and we backblade them and we temporarily fill them
That's what I was
in.
wondering, if you could put.
It's
kind of
gravel and
pavement or something.
millings, you know,
Okay.
until
We have,
a
we
more
have young
permanent repair.
drivers. We have young drivers, I would hate for somebody to like hit a pothole or even damage a car. So I just, but I guess it's nothing we can do if it's weather related. Has to
Yeah,
be.
we can put some millings or
weather.
something in there now until the plants open up, or we can
Okay.
make a more permanent.
Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry, since it's being televised, I'm going to say that this is a private road, those who use it at their own risk, blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Some of the holes are big up. I've hit them
Yeah,
myself.
there's a.
Sorry, what?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Speaking of they have to restore things back to the state, they were just saying, I keep harping on this, and that's the landscaping. I keep seeing lots of gravel and stuff, and I don't know how vegetation is gonna grow again. I am so nervous about, I believe some trees were cut down out of the back door, out of the back gate, because there's now a huge machine sitting where trees were, maybe it was bushes.
More
don't
bushes,
remember,
yeah, but
because I know
that's
there was
where
a
they're
lot
making
of-
the tie into the town
Okay.
just on the other side of
I
it.
wanna make sure whatever is changing for the work and not for parking convenience.
Yeah, that has to, that actually had a hole there on December 30th. They had to fill it back in because there was some miscoordination with the town.
Okay, and that brings us to this agenda item.
Well, this was all water main related. work.
Yes,
Yeah,
How they're
they're
impacting
gonna
campus.
excavate in there again, they have to, that's where the tie-ins are gonna.
So I need to hear about the Western connection and what its status is legally, and the Pinewood Gate connection. And why it's not going either.
Well, we have a meeting tomorrow for the water main.
Mhm.
We've not been aware of any changes since the meeting before the break. Unless BBS is online and they have something that they want to say, but at this point, I would say that tomorrow we'll have more of an update on where we are with the legal issue.
Mr.
Yeah,
Messina.
there was an email today from your attorney, and let me just find it. That he's asking, I'm sorry, let me back up. So the board for the condominium association did meet apparently, and they are asking your attorney for a license, in short, and to avoid the need for whatever legalese that he has in here. So he's working on that, Charles, from your law firm. That
I think I saw an email where he was asking them who to make the license out to.
right,
But
and that
there was no other information as far as how long it takes to get the license,
Yeah.
when the work is gonna be able to be done. So we're hoping that we'll be able to get an update tomorrow on a timeline.
Have we identified the property line?
Yeah.
It's been between the town lawyer and our lawyer. So I don't know the answer to that.
So are we anticipating that once all the paperwork is filled out, we'll be able to make the connection pretty much where we are? Or are we gonna have to go a little further down the road and cut over and avoid the guard station and all that? I'm looking at cost here.
Yeah, I think that's still to be determined, because we're still not clear from the town as to where the proposed connection where the meter goes, or where an existing meter is. And I think that's part of the issue as well. So hopefully tomorrow after that meeting, it gets resolved, as far as where that might be.
Okay, and the Pinewood side, what's happening there? Why do they have to refill in a hole? Do we know that?
I don't have any information on that, sorry.
That'll probably come up at the meeting tomorrow.
Okay, there was a health inspection problem where they sent the paperwork to the county, and the county office moved, and therefore it was lost in the mail, and the transition from the old address to the new address, and they were gonna have to reissue checks and all that. That was back in December. Is that the issue or is there something else?
That was a separate issue, I believe.
Separate issue. Separate
And I
issue.
say, I think they're working on that.
There was some,
There was an email
correspondence.
with the business office where we had to provide proof of payment.
Okay,
And it was for the permits, I believe. So I think that they are working on showing that we did file the application, we did pay for the permits. I don't know what the end result was, if we're gonna have to reapply again or not, I'm not sure. But we were able to provide proof of payment.
okay, the check was cashed. Okay, great. All right, I think the issue was that if we couldn't prove payment, then we ended up at the queuing up at the end of the line, go to the end of the line and start again,
Yeah.
right? And so if you got proof of payment, then your position is.
I'm
is
pretty
guaranteed.
sure, Mr. Messina, do you know if we're gonna need to reapply? Are they accepting our proof of payment? I don't know.
We're still trying to find out if the checks were reconciled. Your check was actually to us as a reimbursement. We cut the check to the municipality on your behalf. So we're trying now today, like put the request in, hopefully by tomorrow we'll have an answer. If they cash that check, then that's proof that, they lost it, basically. And then we can prove that to them.
Okay, great. Now we've got the business of a change order. Being drafted for an additional hydrant on the east side of Wise Way. Fire hydrant for the mansion, right? And we don't want to actually go for that change order because we don't know how much money we're gonna have to spend to try and make the connections. Is there any problem with drawing a picture of the fire hydrant since if it doesn't make it into this project, we can commission it as another project anyway, and the work will be the same. Is there a problem with making a drawing of the 6-inch line for the change order for the fire hydrant for the mansion?
Is there a problem with making a drawing?
Yes, should we go ahead and make the drawing? So I was hoping.
Yeah,
Right, go ahead.
there's no drawing, David, that needs to be made. The contractor knows the scope of work. It's just a matter of we wanted to wait until I guess the issues are resolved legally with the attorneys. And then to see if there's an additional cost there. So you have money in effect to do
And
it.
from, as far as we could get,
Because I thought we had like a mini drawing before,
yeah,
we did calculations
He
before.
made a purple dot on a, yeah, okay. Okay, yes,
So I'm a little confused, but are you saying we're holding off on this suggested hydrant because of additional costs?
yes, because we don't know if the line on the West Hartsdale side is going to have to go further down the road before it cuts over and joins the big line. And depending on how far that is, that will eat up more money.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I mean, had I known that, I might have been a little reserved about the recommendation for the soccer netting. But okay. Like, I think a hydrant is really important. I can't even remember at this point how we got this extra hydrant in the plan. Was that the
There was an entire additional segment
or the
of the loop that went down, that followed the main road. Down around the corner at great expense. Yes, that's right. Look in
So if you
the,
look in the
that we
minutes,
can't do anymore, that we had taken out?
we're not, if you look in the minutes of the meeting, we'll get you the minutes, and you look at this drawing, this segment we're cutting out, and instead of, to save money, and instead of doing the segment at the top, we're adding in a hydrant, basically, let's call it on the exit out of the parking lot of the high school.
Yeah.
Very, very roughly, because that would then be closer to the mansion.
Okay.
If we don't do that, there's still access to the mansion through the parking lot to the hydrants here at the high school, right?
correct.
Yes. Okay, so we're not, so just so everyone knows, there's still an issue. This was just gonna put an additional hydrant in at a much lower cost than doing this other leg that got cut off.
Okay.
But and then we were gonna do that with savings in the scope. But now that those savings might need to be reallocated pending the outcome of what they find with the location of the connection, I'm just repeating what you said.
Yes, you're repeating, yeah,
So
that's
we're
great.
gonna pause.
So now,
Yeah.
so we're at a pause.
It's not a no, it's just a pause until we have more information.
Right, and I was trying to see if there was work that needs to be done that we could do while we're pausing. Of course, we also I don't know, I assume the work crew is gonna be off on some other job?
They actually installed the column back up, restored the pillar.
Okay.
Restored the pillar.
Yes.
There
The
are
pillar that was damaged.
you have gate pillars next to ECP?
Yeah.
And half of them are to the playground and half on the other side, there are some other gate pillars and they knocked one down. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
saw it before it happened. Speaking of work needing to be done, I believe you said the lights that are out, going out the back gate are because of the work getting done, and those lights
That I don't know.
reconnected until,
I'll have to look into that, I don't know if something happened recently, or if it would have to do with the
recently, a
last
few months
transformers.
now. Okay, because it's been a few months and I thought it was connected to the work that's been getting done by Con Ed and our project.
We had a whole section that was out, and then about 4 of them came back on, and we were still out 1 or 2 on the book, but now
At least 2.
now I'm told that there's more down on.
Yeah, the back gate has been out for a while, but at least 2 or 3 lights. Who else uses the back gate?
Judy, at this point, you can maybe talk about the things that you have seen. You tried to send me some pictures, I didn't receive any. Can you hear me?
Because if this was related to the project, maybe that's something we could
Correct.
restore.
Correct.
Yes, I can hear you. I did send the videos though. So I don't know why you didn't get them. Everybody hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. What I've noticed is before Christmas, Christmas week, they were working on whatever this mess is by the Woodland Gates. And I might mention this is the 7th or 8th time in the last 8 months that they dug that right side of the road up. And it was a big mess. And I talked to one of the guys, one of the worker guys, and I said, "What are you doing?" You know, they're very close to our property line. They're almost our property line meeting your Rexbridge property line meeting the Board of Ed, the district's property line is so close. We have a line of cars that park next to this property line, and here they are digging away for like a week, and they're going way inside from the street. So the guy said, "Oh, they're going to put a fire hydrant here." And I said, "Well, why would they be doing that if there's a hydrant right on the corner of where our driveway comes out?" You know, it seems to me it's rather close. So he goes, "Well, I don't know." Then I noticed that at the end of Christmas week, the lights were not on from the Woodlands gate up to where you make the left-hand turn to go to the gym. So I thought that's kind of weird. And so I noticed it was like a couple of nights in a row. And then on Tuesday night of the 30th, I was driving back from a friend's house. I couldn't come down Pat Capone to my house, you know, at Rexbridge. So the guy says, "Oh, well, there's something wrong with the power." So I came down, parked my car, and I talked to the Con Ed guys. So I said, "Look, these lights were out." "Oh, yes, we're taking care of it tonight." That was Tuesday the 30th. So, okay, they took care of it, allegedly. The lights are still out. So that's been since Tuesday the 30th until tonight. And, you know, they were there and they didn't, they said they fixed it, but they didn't. But in addition to that, this whole week from the 30th till tonight, there's nobody back working on that corner by the gate on the right side going up to the school. So now what I'm worried about, they made this big hole, you know, like a big, huge hole. There's a pile of stone sitting there, and they've got 2 bulldozers sitting in there. And you've got pictures tonight. I saw, David, I guess you went over there, that are on the.
Take some pictures of they're labeled pine wood.
They're labeled pine wood, and you can see there's, I don't think we show the hole on that.
There we go.
Maybe we do on the 3rd one.
Yeah.
So you can see, all right, this one he's got on the screen now. That white car that's parked on that corner, there's our driveway going in. There's the first car. There's a whole line of cars that park right there. And this yellow tape thing is
Yeah.
almost, we're so close. There's like a boulder there, but there's also a big, huge tree. Some work was done where the cones are. Some work was done there about a year or two ago. And a big, huge tree where that white car fell down from the front of that white car over to the Rexridge sign. And they were supposed, not you guys, but our landscaper guys that were putting in some drainage. Oh, we're gonna cut it up. Yeah, well, it's still sitting there. My concern is if that big tree fell down, we have two bulldozers now behind the Rexbridge sign that are digging up all this stuff, and they're gonna end up jostling some trees. We've got all those cars sitting there, those trees could come down. And I'm trying to figure out, well, why are they digging it up anyway? So nobody seemed to have a real good answer for that. All I know is the street lights going from where that black car is all the way up to the
Okay, so.
road to the
Is
gym.
that-
are
That's
out
the
every
connection
night.
that's
They
for the water main.
I don't.
That's the connection to
Well,
the water main to the. We've been laying pipe along the driveway and inside the Woodlands campus all this time, and it's not connected to any source of water. So one source of water is out towards West Hartsdale Avenue by the Stone Oaks condominium driveway, and the other one is right there at the Pinewood Gate.
For the connection.
Yeah, so that's where
But it
they.
was always on, I thought it was on the left side, not the right side. The left side going
They
up
cross the
to.
road. They actually, in order not to have interference with there's also a gas line, right? So they actually cross the road to the other side to avoid that. There are some other pictures. Could you?
Where that black car is on that side of the road, they have you dug all the way from the corner of the stop sign by the way to the gym, all the way on the left where that little yellow sign is. And it's a gas line and a water line together. Wouldn't it have been easier to put it there than dig up this whole right side? And in addition, what I was telling David today is our buildings now have acquired mice. All these digging up have we need a Pied Piper. They have relocated the mice that were in the woods into our buildings. I've been here 39 years, never had a mouse. I've had mice. And so have many other buildings. So it would be nice, maybe they didn't do it, it's too late now, do the digging in the winter, so maybe the mice won't move, or they probably already moved out anyway, moved to our buildings. But that's another annoying issue. So you're telling me what are they gonna do with that, where that pile of stone is between that and the bulldozer? What are they supposed to be doing there?
They had a hole over there for the
Next picture.
in anticipation of the tie-in they thought it was gonna happen on the 30th, but it.
Zoom in, please.
There's a hole there, but why are they intending to put a hydrant there? Because that brick building you see right behind the yellow tape, there's a fire hydrant right on that corner. And is that why they're digging up? And if so, why are they gonna put up a fire hydrant in the middle of the woods across from?
That's for the tie-in,
It's the tie-in, it's not
hole,
fire hydrant.
you don't need a hole that big for one fire hydrant.
Yeah, but that's way into the woods. And if you see that brick building there's already a fire hydrant right on the corner of that brick building and the street. So
Right, no fire hydrant.
We're gonna have two fire hydrants.
No additional fire hydrant. They're just connecting the pipes together.
That's just okay, so the guy didn't know what he was talking about. But then the water main line I thought was across the street by that private house. Because that's when Con Ed was digging, you guys were digging, and then they told me, oh, well, we're putting the water, connecting the water main to the Greenburgh water main from that dug up stuff they did on the left side. So that's why I couldn't figure out why are they doing the right side when they already did the left side?
The other side was a gas line.
No, the gas line was already done. That was done way before. What was just done now from the corner of of the little road that goes up to the gym, all the way down to the gate was the water line.
Water line, correct.
So if the water, yeah, well, if the water line's on that side of the street, why are they digging up on this side of the street, the other side of the street?
The water line crosses the street.
The water line is gonna cross the street and make the tie in. Well, that's it.
Right there where the
Right
pit
there.
is, that big muddy pit.
The, too bad, is it a money pit or a muddy pit?
Muddy pit, muddy pit.
Probably both. All right, so it's gonna come from the left side of the street to the right side of the street?
Correct.
But there, if there's nothing on this muddy pit side of the street, then how can you put something, if the real line is on the other side? What are you gonna put on this side to connect it? Cause it's not there, it's over the other side, supposedly.
The gas line, there's
The gas
a.
line and the water is on the other side of the street. Now they have to cross to get to that, but that's where the tie-in is gonna be on. Oh,
They were digging on the left side going up, coming down that hill on the left, saying that they were putting the water line, even though it had already been the gas line, that there were two lines on top of each other, basically. So if that is already the water line, then you guys already dug from up by the school coming down, all the way down the hill by the pond to the gate, then why can't it just connect there to the town thing? When there's no water line that I know of on this side where the muddy pit, can't even say it together, is.
The town of
the
Greenburgh.
town and
Water
the
Department,
contractors, they dictate where the
They
tie-in.
came and they told them where to connect.
So now what I'm concerned about, you see how close that money pit
Muddy.
is to the cars that we have. And you can see how they're jostling the trees around. I'm concerned those trees are gonna fall on top of those cars that are parked there. Luckily, I park a little further down, but that's a bunch of cars that might get hit with these jostled up trees. And now this week, they haven't worked at all over there since the 30th. So.
They're waiting for approval from, right, they're waiting for approval from the town of Greenburgh, who stopped them on the 30th from going any further, and we're going to find out tomorrow. Or you'll find out tomorrow, what the holdup is.
Well, we're also gonna get an update on why they weren't able to connect here
Right.
at this location.
And also what happened to Con Ed the night of the 30th, that the power is still not on. To those street lights, not our street lights, but your street lights up from that corner up to the curve of the pond, up to the road that goes to the not to the board, to the gym.
Yeah, and those are the lights I've observed have been out, I wanna say at least since November. Now, if they've come back on sporadically, I don't know, it's just when I'm driving there at night. I think they've been out for months, probably even earlier than November.
Ned started the work down.
Well,
Since before Con Ed started.
way before that, yeah. We had an issue, the contractors hit the line and they restored it and they came back on, but now.
It's off.
I'm thinking that maybe when they put the transformers on, we did have a lot of electrical loss here, a lot
I
of
know,
things.
I feel like they were, I don't remember.
I think we had a couple out, but I think there's actually more out now than the other day.
Yes.
All right, so the switch gear is still sitting somewhere in Maryland or something, and
That's
it has not come.
Last I heard.
And when it comes, then we're gonna have to shut down all the power.
There will be another, yeah, also.
The switch for that power, are you saying? Because that supposedly the night of the 30th, it was supposed to be all, those lights were supposed to be working. They're not. So did they communicate with you as to what happened the night of the 30th, that it was fixed or not? I was gonna call Con Ed, but you know, who am I? I'm not the owner of that road. What happened? They told me they were gonna fix it the night of the 30th. So it's not done. And I just was wondering, you know, what had happened with that.
Go ahead.
Is that the switch that's lost? And
No, that's a different issue. So
I could write a book.
Edison turned the power off to our building and it affected the campus, those lights in the building. And when they turned things on,
Some
Some of
things
the
came
lights
on,
did restore.
and some of them didn't.
You know, it's funny, their lights, the street lights are all
Power
lit
off, but
on the
things
road
might
to
burn
the,
up.
yeah.
There might be a blown fuse and, you know, 2 up from where the next power pole. We'll look into that.
Okay.
Maybe somebody can check into that because, you know, the lights are on the road going to the gym and up by the mansion. But they're just there's maybe 5 or 6 of them between that road go down the pond to the gate. It's just very strange because oh yeah, we're gonna fix them tonight. Okay. So that was like a week and a half ago. So-
Okay, let's make sure there are no more pictures for us to look at, so go forward.
You have better pictures.
Okay.
This is 4, 5.
That's RJ Bailey. I believe you already have this on your list of things.
Yeah, I reached out to the paving contractor.
Good. And it's not you're gonna do it, you're gonna wait for
As soon
spring
as
or?
possible, if the plants are open next week, then they'll come out here.
They're not, is it better to get rid of the half bump?
No, they just cut the whole piece out. Like, for now, they might just
Yes.
put something temporarily, but the real job is you wanna do the whole speed bump.
I believe that's it.
Okay, great. So our existing facilities reserves, which is the other pole in the tent, in order to determine what we can and can't do. We have a capital reserve and repair reserve balances. That's at $2,264,547 for capital reserve and $1,331,645 for repair reserve. And we wanted to find out how much of those are encumbered. And you are making progress on that?
Yes, so those balances that you just spoke about were our balances as of June 30th of 25.
Correct.
Obviously, we do accrue interest monthly.
Okay.
So I don't have an updated balance right now for you. And I believe that there was one for the repair reserve. Trustee Ballin, you can quote me if I'm wrong, but there was $155,000 transfer.
Yes.
So obviously that balance, we would add the interest and minus the $155,000. And that's what our balances are in our reserves.
Okay, and so your knowledge of whether or not the capital reserve is encumbered? Any portion of it, is it dedicated to any existing projects or is it free, Claire?
The numbers that you've quoted are not in any of
Our existing projects.
our existing projects there.
Great, so basically we have $2.2 million to work with.
I'm gonna reframe that. if I
Okay,
may.
reframe that.
This is how much we have in our reserve accounts.
Hmm?
I think when we identify our priorities, we can say, this is the start of our savings towards some of these bigger projects. Not, hey, this is what we have, let's use it, let's spend it all.
Well,
I think some of our projects are very big projects.
Projects are big,
Yes.
but remember
Yeah.
what's coming
I know.
down the road. Which is the zero emissions. So, you know, they are offering a 2-year waiver, but that's just for the purchasing of buses from 2027 to 2029. But the 2035 date has not changed. And as far as I know, what we're being told, our entire fleet, whether we lease or own, will need to be electric by then. Now, maybe something will change between now and then, but we still have to have a plan.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of upgrades to our current transformers and different things.
Infrastructure.
The infrastructure is very costly. And yes, there are some opportunities we might be able to look into as far as grants. Obviously, we're not going to be eligible for a lot of the grants that people that own their own fleet are eligible for, but there are some through NYSERDA that we would be eligible for. I just think that when we're planning for the future, we're going to want to have some money saved.
Have you looked into doing a project in common with other surrounding districts? And are there other
None of the
districts that are
other-
looking?
None of our neighboring districts are talking about doing any sort of a shared services with a current BOCES or anything like that. There are several districts in Westchester and other counties that have started. They've actually started to purchase, one bus here, one bus there. They're, starting to set up charging stations, but I'm not aware of any districts that are looking to sell their services.
Okay. So we're gonna have to do a study in order to get the waiver signed?
So I will be working with the transportation director. We did look over the waiver and look over the guidance for the waiver that SED recently released right before the break. It's basically a point system. So I'm not 100% sure that we're gonna need to do because there are other things that may apply to us that would give us enough points to be approved. And only one of the options is the fleet electrification plan. But basically they have different points allotted to different things, and we need to come up with 3 points to be approved. So it's.
Are any of those, hey, you've got lots of solar power on your
I'll just tell you a few of them. So basically, funding denial, you get 2 points for. Fleet electrification plan, you get 3 points. Utility upgrades required, which this will apply to us, and actually that's 3 points. That might do it for us right there.
Okay.
But again, we need to, what are they considering upgrades? Will we be eligible or upgrades? Are upgrades gonna meet what they think the upgrade should be for the 3 points? I don't know the answer to that yet. Bus garage lease restriction. I don't exactly know what that refers to, but that's 3 points. New bus garage required is 2 points. Contractor limitations, 3. Operational changes needed, 1. So there's a lot of different things that we're gonna need to look into. It's possible we might need to get a fleet electrification plan that would tell us what long-term, and then as we get closer, I would imagine more information is gonna come out for our other options. So similar to like a shared services agreement.
So when is the waiver due?
The waiver has to be submitted by March 1st.
Okay, so it sounds like we could move forward on submitting that without having a plan.
Correct.
All those other items.
Correct.
And we can look at, meanwhile, I'll repeat this, I feel like I said this multiple meetings. There's still a lot of advocacy, not just in Westchester Putnam, but statewide on this whole EV mandate. Because districts that have converted are having serious issues. I don't know if the city has had issues. You guys are waived because you have a public transport.
We use buses.
Okay,
Elementary school students get bused.
okay.
I mean,
Anyway, I'm saying,
We'd love
and
to see
lobbying
it go
season
away.
is starting, and it starts, we have our first meeting January 29th.
Yeah.
So we'll hear from our legislators, their thoughts and their stance.
Right.
Because there's been a lot of pushback and it's a lot more vocal now than it was for the last few years.
And I think some of the other mandates that were originally put into place have actually been recalled.
Yes,
If I'm not mistaken, like
I think the
the,
momentum is behind that.
Right.
Which is why the waivers that they put in place are like a temporary,
yes.
let's pause and see what we actually want to do with this for the long term from the state.
Mr. Messina, do you do electrification studies?
I believe that we sent you a proposal maybe 2 years ago when this first came out. We don't, we work with another firm, I believe, that does. Fred stepped away for a second, but he could probably speak to it. Fred, do you remember when we sent the proposal over to them? I think it might have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yes, I think we sent them a proposal a couple of years ago, and we use a sub-consultant that does those types of surveys. We look at the electrical, talk to Con Ed, coordinate that. They look at your buses, bus routes, mileage, when the buses are in the yards. But I think part of the complication was that you don't own your own buses, you lease your buses, so I think the district was hesitant to move ahead with it, just not knowing for sure who was going to be responsible for that.
So starting tomorrow morning at 8:30, I have a meeting with Mr. Gunn, and we're going to be starting the completion of the waiver. And then to be continued.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, we talked about, science project aid. Let's see, how are we going? We're doing really poorly on time. Okay. Science lab aid, has there been any, we already talked about, we added in that letter to Chan Zuckerberg Foundation to try and get science lab aid. Meanwhile, the science lab project has gone forward. You want to go over the top of page 7, the highlights of the dates, where what's happening with the actual science project?
We're scheduled to go out to bid next week. We spoke about this at the last meeting. The dates you have in front of you, they're self-explanatory.
Has legal reviewed the specs?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Mansion aid we've already done. Minutes. Bring up the minutes. Be the end of the pattern. They look like this. You've got the projects. Basically, we went over the project status, right? Right, so there's the BBS report.
I move
Yes.
that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Does anybody see anything? I think all the names are spelled correctly. I second the motion. Any comments? All in favor? Aye. Was opposed? Okay, we have minutes. Great. Other concerns? Floor is now open.
So basically, I just want to thank you for your support and time. You guys are great. Since we have been here in the district, I'm pleased to see a lot of changes and improvements, which is very good for our community. But please just keep in mind soccer program. And I know it's gonna get better. It's already great. I know it's gonna move on along and it's gonna become a great program. We have great students, great people that work here, teachers, coaches. I mean, what more can we ask for, right?
Mhm.
But we need to stay on top of everything. We need to meet all the challenges, and keep moving forward. But thanks.
We'll do our best.
Thank you.
When will we have an update for the projects, like what is gonna be in consideration? Because we don't know what is.
So February.
Or long term.
February, we get the numbers updated on all these projects. Then we can look and see what we look for it next meeting. Yes.
Just, after thinking about this meeting, I mean, also, we've been lucky the past few years getting our, state senator and a rep, assembly person to go get their SAM grants or whatever. So are we pursuing that as well?
Let's see, on the 14th, we're having the state of the district mid-year report by the superintendent. And it's in a place of a regular CEC meeting, and I think we were trying to invite Andrea Stewart Cousins and Assemblywoman Mary Jane Chimsky. I don't know if they're coming.
Sure. I could ask.
Okay. But yes, we will attempt to, and you lobby, do you go to the meetings of the, right?
Westchester Front School Board Association, I'm scheduled to go to a legislative meeting in January, hoping to do one in February.
And that
who attends?
presentation will be on Tuesday, the 14th at 7 PM at RJ Valley.
No, Wednesday the 14th.
Oh, Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is.
Okay, great, and then again, like, this, discussion sparks in my mind, like, who else, I mean, the soccer community is huge. And like, I went to school with Carolina where Mia Hamm was a superstar. I don't know her, but I mean, I could reach out and be like, what are the foundations that support districts that need help funding their soccer programs? And other, you guys could do that too, like everybody,
Yeah.
to be on our radar. I think we need to consider outside funding.
Right.
As we speak, this is a district that
We mentioned that.
we could, we would renovate everything right away, but we don't have that. And we don't have the community capacity to, have a huge.
You know, if I came back to the meeting and because I was getting discouraged and it was just me and advocating for it, but I saw that the district did the tennis courts, right?
Right.
And the football field, right? And that didn't wait for too long. I know they said that it has.
Football field, no, the tennis courts, yeah.
Yeah, but the football field, it had like a problem or it was like something in danger. I don't know about that, but so then the tennis courts are fixed already too. So now you just have all this land here that it looks like just a land. It doesn't look like a soccer field. It doesn't look like a baseball field.
Yeah.
Right? So and the other students are gonna see this in their own district. I mean, the soccer team. Because they're just gonna go practice in the nice football field, and then the other ones here, it's, so that's why I came back and I was upset. Yeah, I was upset because of that. And I get their priorities, yes, but how that the tennis courts were fixed and how is the football field fixed? And you're just gonna leave this part like not doing anything. So that's my point.
Okay.
All right.
But I see that we've been doing many things and we do have more things to do, and I really love the district.
I mean, probably in the past, I don't have any experience, but I don't know how their soccer program was run, like how many students, athletes were in the program.
They went to states.
But now that it's growing, I think we need to pay a little bit more attention, having an adequate place for them to play. Also, it's not just that, also hiring another coach that can help our coach Tyler. And if you see like those kids in that team, they all like excellent children. Everybody is, but I'm just speaking for the kids that I see and the parents, like, they go from one sport to the other, they go to the academy, they go to all these other programs that they do. If they try their best to represent themselves, our community, right? And we feel proud, why we can't do the same for them? I have to support them. But at least now we have an idea that it's not just up to you, probably we can go out there and kind of like try to get help, Like we really don't have to wait on you. We can, go and reach out and see like that.
We've been always I always ask for that. How do we reach out? And then I ask the director of the sports. So
Just keep in mind that if you do happen to come across somebody who is interested in making a donation,
yeah, that was
I
the
would
next
recommend you
question.
come back to us at that point because we do have a formal process
Yes.
for accepting donations and having them
Okay.
approved.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to know if you guys have reached out to the Dalio Philanthropies. Because Ray Dalio, he has a family office in Westport and he does do a lot with Connecticut school districts. Like in December 19th, there was a press release that went out that he pledged 75 million to Connecticut school districts. Even if he gave us 2 million, I mean, he's a building, he has money and he does a lot of philanthropic. He's very much into education and he does say underserved, and I'm sure you can figure out, I mean, we are an affluent district, but I'm sure there's the ways that you could say we're not Bronxville. So, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
He's right there.
Right, the verbiage at
And
the,
we've got it right
at the
there.
front of the science letter describes our district, okay?
Yeah.
And you can use that in anybody you contact, pretty much. That gives a good profile. Okay, good. Anybody else have anything to say? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.